Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 636. It is April 2nd, 2020. My name is Nick Henderson. Joining me this evening is Brad Simons.
What's up?
Nolan
Horstrom.
Aha, these guys got jokes. How's it going?
Christopher
Sound
Davis.
awful.
Good morning. Good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are.
And Ed Mitchell.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you're probably going to have to remove your horse mask, Nolan. Anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. We are, as you probably know if you've listened the past few weeks, we are, of course, recording remotely from home for the foreseeable future while this pandemic is wreaking havoc across the world. So I guess it's to start, let me just say, I hope everybody out there is staying healthy and safe. Wash your hands. Feel like you can't say that. Wash your hands and your hooves. But yeah, we got video games to talk about tonight. We also have some news. There's been a surprising amount of news, some good, some bad, which we'll get to, of course, in the second segment. But
is that Gearbox thing on there?
Ooh, yeah, we should talk about that.
We should definitely talk about the Gearbox thing.
I don't know about the Gearbox thing.
We have some news for you, Nolan. We got some Gearbox news. We got some Nier news.
Quality Randy Pitchford news.
I did see people talking about Randy, but I didn't see what the news was.
Well, it's not good. We'll talk about that in the second segment. We also have some Last of Us 2 news. Pour one out for Last of Us 2.
And Iron Man VR, Nick.
And Iron Man VR. My apologies. Is that an actual video game?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
In fact, pretty much everything they've been saying about that game since it was announced is, hey, actual video game.
I haven't honestly been paying too close attention to it. I always got the sense that it was kind of more of a
previews have been very positive.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's from the studio that did Republic a few years ago.
Mostly because you actually fly around using your hand jets. So you point them in the direction, like you're fucking Tony Stark.
Oh, that doesn't sound
you mean
exhausting at all.
Like in Stormland, which
Nick, no one knows.
Oh, yeah,
what
true.
That is. Stormland.
I talked about it on the show, Brad. You apparently just weren't listening.
Here's the problem with Stormland.
Tell me, Brad.
That's the worst fucking name in the world.
It is.
If they wanted anyone to know,
not a great name, but also not the worst in the world. There are far worse titles out there, but that's neither here nor there.
You mean the sequel, Stormland Rising?
That's actually probably what a sequel would be called if they made it.
Stormlands.
Let me get to some feedback real quick.
Stormlands was the canceled Obsidian game that they were making for Microsoft.
No,
the big RPG.
Storm Worlds.
What?
I did not mean to fall into a rabbit hole of talking about games with the word storm in them. Let's do some feedback from last week. Not a ton. But again, of course, if you are so inclined, if you listen to the show, if you have anything you would like to contribute to our discussions we have tonight, please leave us a comment at 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode, and we will read it at the start of the next show. Our first comment, of course, as usual, comes from Thorax. He says 3 things. 1, Nick, watch Yojimbo. That shit is good.
Facts.
Still haven't done that. I should have. I really should have. Instead, I found myself not sure what to watch this week, but I was like, I got to watch a movie, and I don't really feel like doing a lot of research or paying money to rent something right now. So I ended up watching Glass.
Okay.
That movie, not good.
Well, you didn't want to have to do a bunch of research?
Options.
You have a curated list made just for you.
I know. It was a spur of the moment.
You didn't want to look at the list, Brad. That's so much work.
That's literally actually true. I did not want to look. I just went onto HBO's app, and there was just what do they have here? and I just went through the list until I saw something. I was like, oh, I've been wanting to watch that, and I watched it.
You saw what HBO did today, right?
Yes, they made
I did
certain
not.
shows available even if you don't have HBO, right?
And a bunch
Shows,
of movies too.
documentaries, and movies.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Anything like good, like
Yeah.
Chernobyl? Or
The
something?
Wire is on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, among others.
The Sopranos, maybe.
It's-
Yes.
Yeah, they got some good stuff on there.
So they're old stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, some
Well, I
new
mean,
stuff. They get
Succession, Silicon Valley, Ballers.
Oh,
the
wow,
Detective
okay.
Barry.
Pikachu movie.
Dude,
Ooh,
Barry's good. All you
Barry.
motherfuckers
Barry's
who've
good.
not seen Barry, now you can see it for free. You better fucking watch Barry.
Yeah, Barry's good.
Such anger.
I'm gonna watch so many television shows during this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
none
if
of them
people
will be
weren't
Barry.
watching Barry. I think people watched Barry. I think we're
Well,
good.
For those
I-
who didn't,
I didn't, and I have HBO. I mean,
You
I've
mean
watched.
Nick-
I've watched.
Nick didn't watch Barry,
I watched like
yet he played
5
Doom.
episodes.
and he
Yeah.
he watched Smallville again, but he didn't watch Barry.
You son of a bitch.
Hey man, we just have different priorities. That's all.
What?
Yeah. I
Let
like
me
spending
continue.
my time in a worthwhile fashion.
Nolan, just hush your mouth.
Do I need to put the horse head back on?
Yes, put the horse head back on. Number 2, Thorax says, Chris Davis, I thought schools were closed around the country and yet you were required to work. That's messed up. You have explained that. I don't think any further explanation is necessary,
I work in higher education, and that's different.
even though you did say that you're one of like 5 people still working at your campus.
Yeah.
It is strange. Hopefully that changes soon. Number 3, he says, I don't even want to read this one, but I'm going to anyways because we promised we're going to do it. He says, I'm so glad no
Professor Davis. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Why are you fucking laughing at that?
Do they call you? You just move on. Just move on. I don't want to derail this shit. Just keep going.
You're doing a great job so far. Can I read the last comment?
Yes.
I'm so glad no locations were cut out of the original in Resident Evil 3 Remake, April Fools. We're going to talk about Resident Evil 3 Remake next week. We'll get to that. Slopdog says, legit so happy to hear. First of all, Brad, if you don't want to hear the gist of our impressions of Half-Life,
You
cover
shouldn't
your
have
ears.
warned him. Fuck him.
Legit so happy to hear Half-Life Alyx is amazing. Such a shame I can't play it right now with no VR setup, but that feels like a fun goal to work towards. Really, to hear you guys give it praise brings a smile to my face. What do you want to say, Brad?
That's a fun goal to work towards.
I mean, I'm just going to move on. The Drunken Merchants is our last comment tonight. It says, Zipper needs to take his eggs and hippity hop his bunny ass out of my town. Great
Zipper-
podcast as always.
Zipper
think-
T Bunny.
Is that what his name is? The rabbit in Animal Crossing? Yeah.
Mhm.
Fuck Zipper. All right, guys, thank you very much for your feedback. We appreciate it. Again, if there's anything you would like to chime in on, anything you want to contribute, any thoughts, questions, whatever, about anything we talk about tonight, go to 4playernetwork.com and leave us a comment on the post for this here episode, which is 636. All right. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Everybody cool?
Yes.
Ed, we haven't heard from you in a while. You're in quarantine. How long
In
has it been since
quarantine.
you left your house?
Well, yesterday we went on a bike ride, so
Call
not
the
I feel-
cops.
I feel
Yeah.
like
Breaking
bike rides,
quarantine.
don't call
bike-
the cops.
bike rides and walks don't count. I've gone on a walk every day. Otherwise, I would have lost my mind a long
So
time ago.
2 weeks ago, right before all this thing happened, was Katie's spring break from her school.
Mhm.
And so we were going to go to San Diego, and we ended up canceling our trip. Like, I got home from work on Friday. We were leaving in 2 hours, and I said, I don't think we should go. And then we talked about it for a little bit, and then we ended up canceling the trip. And then the next day, or a couple days later, is when the California governor was like, all breweries and restaurants are closed. And I was like, well, that's the whole reason we're going. I guess we made the right decision.
Dodged a bullet. Yeah. It's rough.
So we went to Fredericksburg, Texas for a couple days as a before the whole world
to
came
some-
to a screeching
Some
halt.
wineries.
Was
Yep.
the dip place open?
The what?
Dip place? I don't
The-
think so.
the
In
dip
Fredericksburg,
place.
there's a store that sells nothing but like salsas and peanut butters. And
Oh, yeah,
all
no, it
kinds of
wasn't.
We got like an email about them finally closing, and it was way later than they should have. especially in that place where everyone's dipping into the same fucking thing.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
they there was a couple places that were like closed preemptively, and then that was still a couple days before like Texas decided that it was a good idea to stop doing things.
Yeah, we are unfortunately like right in the midst of all. Like it's gonna like this week and next week are probably gonna be the brunt of it. So
Yep.
everybody needs to hunker down, play video games, watch TV. Don't fucking leave your house except to go on walks. Walks are nice. Holy shit, fresh air helps a lot. Like my entire mood like did like a 180 just going on a fucking like 2 mile walk. It was ridiculous. Anyways, let's talk about video games. That is in fact what we're here to do. We have a lot of stuff on the dock tonight. Some of the stuff we've already talked about, so I want to maybe pass it over to. Well, first we haven't heard from Ed in a while. It's been a while since we had you on the show, and you have a few games you've been playing.
Yeah.
Some of which we've never even heard of.
Yeah. I mean, we can kick it off with Lightmatter first, since that's the one that Brad hasn't heard of.
And you have footage for it.
And I have footage for
What's
it.
it called?
Lightmatter.
Oh.
So the first thing you'll notice when Chris gets the footage up eventually, that it's like a first-person puzzler, kind of like Portal or like Talos Principle or whatever.
It's like
It
right
looks-
away.
It
Well-
looks very
Well,
talented.
when I say it, I'm like waiting a minute and a half.
Well, it's actually funny. So the writing in this game references Portal a lot, like to the point where it feels like it's. And then I die right there.
like
but to the-
directly references it.
Yeah, like you'll see it in a couple minutes. He'll talk about after science, which is kind of funny. But so the point of this game is that basically all the shadows that you can see, all the dark areas, will kill you immediately as soon as you walk into them, and so you have to like use these little orbs and then also flashlights to basically spread the light around the room so that you can traverse different puzzles.
Oh,
So you see here that, and the other catch is that when you're holding something, you can't jump. So you have to like you move platforms around and
just like in
place
real
things.
life.
And, yeah, just like in real life.
When you say you die instantly, do you fall through the ground? Is
Yes,
that
you
how
do
die?
fall
Okay.
through the ground.
I've seen a puzzle game with a mechanic similar to that, but
Yeah, you'll see it in like a minute or so.
Man,
and I
you're
die again.
not great at this.
So basically, if the light's not touching it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. So like you'll see it in a minute. I'll like experimentally fall through the ground and die on purpose insteed of on accident, like I did these
Yes,
past 2
on
times.
purpose.
Experimentally, yeah.
Yeah, here it is. I'll walk right into the dark area, so you'll see me like sink into the ground.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a slow sink, too. And you see like
yeah.
that's weird. You see like bubbles coming up, like you're
Yeah.
sinking into water. That was
It's like
weird.
you're being enveloped in the darkness. But yeah, it was a cool game. It's pretty short. I think I only played it for like 8 or so hours, or maybe a little less than that. Yeah, 6 hours.
So
That's
it's
actually-
okay to start.
I feel like for this style of game, that's actually fairly long. Although Talos
Probably the
Principle was
longest game we'll be
ridiculous.
talking about in the next few weeks. Next
Shut the
couple
fuck
of
up, Brad.
Brad, you are fucking.
So you
killing me.
see here that I like got to a part where there was a hole there, so I couldn't do it. So I used the platform to move myself around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Lightmatter. It was a lot of fun. Kind of fun little.
Is this a recent release? I haven't really.
Yeah,
heard
it came
much
out
about it.
in January,
Oh.
so relatively recent. But you see, like as I'm holding the orb, I can put the light. It spreads the light, and then I can jump over this little cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the next game I played also came out in January. It was called The Pedestrian.
Which we actually
And-
played.
Yeah, we played that a little bit.
Wait, who talked about? I remember somebody mentioning that. Oh, this was the one with the weird, like the sign.
Yeah, we
where-
played it
Yeah.
on that game night.
Yeah,
long
yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But we
there
never
were
talked about-
games that came out in the first 2 months of this year.
But we never talked about it on the show.
Right. So this game is kind of cool. You play as a little like a stickman figure, and you're basically walking between different like street signs that are like kind of placed into the environment.
I remember talking about this while we were playing it, and just we were all commenting on the fact that it's like so much effort was put into making these environments that don't even matter. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like there's so much detail in the backdrops and everything, but like they don't do anything for the actual game.
So
all
it's
all that's happening in the signs.
funny you mentioned that.
Mm.
You know how some puzzle games just kind of build up to a mechanic, and then at the very end they kind of fully realize that mechanic.
Like Portal.
Like Portal, yeah, sure. This game does that. And if
Oh,
and I'm gonna not say
spoilers.
anything more than that. But it's really it's very interesting when you get to the end and it kind of does what it wants to do at the end, and that moment of like realization about what's happening is really cool.
Awesome.
Well, I'm glad
Somebody
I
in
bought
chat
it.
said somebody in chat said it also has been compared a little bit to Manifold Garden as a more recent comparison.
Lightmatter
He's
has,
talking about
yeah.
Lightmatter though.
Oh, Lightmatter has.
Yeah, I mean it's very like pretty in kind of a muted sense.
Yeah.
Lightmatter is.
Is this pedestrian game pretty quality?
Yeah.
Did you finish?
Mm.
Oh, so I'm assuming
Yeah.
you finished it, right?
Yeah, I finished it, and I think this was even shorter than the other one, than Lightmatter. But
Ed, I don't know what podcast you think we're on, but one, we don't play interesting indie games, and two, we don't finish games around here.
but yeah, no, it was cool. I had a lot of fun while I was doing it, and some of the puzzles actually did get pretty tough. So
Cool.
definitely worth a shot.
So you've
yeah.
been hunkering down and playing a lot of short, interesting puzzlers. It seems.
Well, most of these two I've actually played like a while ago, like back in like when they came out or in February, and then I played Ori and the Will of the Wisps. That's kind of what I was like focusing on the past couple of
Did you
weeks.
finish that?
Yeah.
What were your
You
final
and me.
thoughts?
Yeah. Brad doesn't want to trust me on this.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
I don't want to trust you. I have the game.
I
thought
you stopped playing it, and I told you should keep going, but you don't.
I thought that it lived up to everything, all the hype and all the kind of expectations that I had from the first game.
I have a question for you though, Ed. Did you find it? Because I did. Did you find it to be way easier than the first one? Because I remember the first one being like a pain.
Yeah, a little bit, but I think that's just because the like bash skill, the one that you get to like traverse faster or whatever, and traverse up, like that skill you get much earlier in this game, and so you're able to kind of jump and move around and reflect projectiles back earlier than you were in the last game.
Right.
Let me ask you this: why do they call it bash? I mean, come on.
I don't know.
It bothered me in the first game, and it still bothers me.
I guess it's because you're bashing off of the projectile to shoot up. I guess
it is a strange name
I
because like
still wouldn't call it a bash.
they kept referring to it as bash in the game, and I was like, which ability are they talking?
Fling,
Yeah.
maybe fling.
Fling would be
seems
cool.
appropriate. But then again,
Like
you don't always use it as a
reflector.
fling. Like it's weird because you can use it in two different ways to do different things.
Yeah,
So, like,
you can use it to force
Spring?
yourself to go in a direction, but you can also use it to force the projectile back
yeah,
to the enemy. Yeah,
it's strange, but that game is dope.
yeah, it was. It's beautiful too. I mean, like just super picturesque.
Yeah.
When that toad is coming out of the water, like
Yeah, that
you gotta
was a good
kinda
I did see
thumbs
that
up.
too.
And
That's cool.
there's some great like just fucking beautiful set pieces in that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Although I kind of I played that whole thing on Xbox. Maybe a bad idea.
Why?
Why?
I mean,
You
for
talked
one,
about it last week.
we talked about it having some performance issues, but like also
yeah.
it is not as crisp and beautiful as it should be on the Xbox, like not even remotely.
I mean, I played on Xbox Game Pass for PC.
yeah, but you played it on PC.
Yeah.
So like, playing it on a standard like regular Xbox One,
Right.
it's rough around the edges in terms of just graphical polish, and which is
Sure.
kind of a shame because that game should look absolutely jaw dropping. But I was pretty constantly distracted by things like like pixelation and blurry effects, and it was skipping quite a bit, like frame rate
Yeah,
was dropping.
I didn't have that problem at all. So maybe play it on PC.
Yeah,
Or
Definitely.
I was a sucker.
Xbox One X.
I'm a sucker for a physical edition, and I wanted that fucking box. So
Oh.
I got it.
So you own a crappy version.
I prefer to play the game for free than
But
get a physical edition.
if I get an
Or
Xbox
free.
Series X, it'll look beautiful.
Are you gonna
Okay.
play it again?
Wait, are you gonna get a
probably
Are you gonna
not.
get an Xbox
Yeah, are
Series?
you gonna get a
X?
Series X?
I don't know.
Is
Probably.
anyone gonna get a Series X this year?
I mean,
The world
one
may never
guy.
know.
This
Here's
guy.
the question.
First off,
here's
fuck you. Second,
I'm that way.
it might just end up being my Halo machine, but who knows?
also, first of all, ask yourself this, and this is, I'm not my proudest brag, but like, what console have I not purchased? Even though I barely play it, like I have a Wii U, which I've barely.
I don't know.
touched.
Do you
I
have a
an
Sega
Xbox.
Saturn?
No,
Play some
I'm not-
Sega Saturn games, Nick.
fuck off. No, thank you. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Brad,
Do you have a PlayStation Vita?
I did.
You
traded it
I
did?
did.
Did you have a Vita TV?
Dude, I've played Uncharted.
Oh, I
Golden
have one right
Abyss
here.
No, I know. I'm saying
Right underneath my
you
computer.
did, as in, why did you get rid of it?
because I.
Do you still have your
There-
Xbox?
Huh?
You still have your Xbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I got rid of my Vita because, like, they basically stopped making games for it.
Then why don't you get a Vita TV?
Shut up.
But you still had game. Well, okay.
Do I have
They
to
stopped making
justify?
games for the Super Nintendo.
Do I have to justify all my purchasing and trading
Yes.
decisions with
Yeah,
you?
I need to
guys?
see
Yep.
the receipts.
Only when they're interesting or strange.
Well, you find them interesting when you consider them to be bad choices. So
We know you charge them all back to the site anyway, so money launderer over there.
Mm.
shots fired.
Wait. We're live, Ed. Shh.
Oh my
wait.
goodness.
Did you transition to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna pass it to you to talk about Mountain Blade 2.
We should do little like window gimmicks. Like you throw a ball and then I catch a ball. Yeah.
We're
Or
not
Go
except,
in
you.
there for that.
except
The
as,
only, the only
as
problem is you went the wrong way.
yeah.
Also, my question is: are our video screens in Discord all set up the same way, or is it just like
No, they're different.
Like, get your
They're
killer
different.
out of my face. Ugh. Wait, no, Ed's
In order,
next to
it-
me.
people listening to the audio podcast are gonna have no idea what you're actually doing on screen, so they're just gonna be like, "What is he talking about?"
Well, maybe they should check out the YouTube version.
Perhaps
this
they
is
should,
great
Same
podcast here
Maybe.
material here.
or they should watch us live when we.
Hey,
record
Brad,
these.
tell us about Bannerlord.
Bannerlord, Mountain Blade 2.
Roll the
Bannerlord.
footage.
It's finally out. Man, it's been in development for. It's
Is
been
it out or is it
announced.
in early access?
Well, it's in early access, but it's Mountain Blade. It always feels like early access a little bit, right?
Facts.
But yeah, I played this at E3, and I haven't been to E3 in a while. So yeah, I think 2017.
Sounds
Yeah.
about right.
And that was and when I finally played at E3, I was like, oh, finally, it's fucking playable. This thing, I think we've been hearing about it for like 6 years at least, maybe longer. And you know what? It's very Mountain Bladey. If you like Mountain Blade, you're gonna like this. Some people are calling this like a Warband remaster, which is doing it a little disservice. It is very much that same game, especially now that it's in early access.
Is Mountain Blade the game when it first came out? You were talking about it, and there was like battle cries.
Hmm?
What's
Yeah,
You
there
were
were
like-
battle cries.
Are you thinking of
Yeah.
chivalry?
No, you're
thinking of
Chivalry?
Chivalry.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of
You're thinking
chivalry. You're right.
Yeah.
you're thinking of
The
Chivalry.
scream
I
button.
get, yeah, I get the, I get the, I
That's
get those
screaming.
two games confused all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, this is
wow,
the one where
Chuckosaurus.
now the combat is, well, this is just my footage, I think. Again, it was when I was recording. I wasn't paying attention to the record probably. Yeah. No, this is the one. It has similar type of combat, right? Where you're kind of like aiming your strikes and you're blocking all the shots, and like a well-timed, well-aimed, sped shot can off a guy like really quickly. That
Mhm.
sort of combat, like Chivalry, like Mordhau, which came out last year, I think, that
Mhm.
sort of thing. But then there's the whole sim element where you're building an army and you're getting into these huge army battles. I mean, there's multiplayer in Mountain Blade. A lot of people only play the multiplayer. But I like to play the single player campaign where you're roaming around a big map. What is
That is a lot of menu. Like I am instantly overwhelmed when I see that menu that you're sorting through. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's a sim. This is like an
Yeah.
RPG. It's not like just a combat game.
Yeah.
And you build up your I mean, I guess I can explain what Mountain Blade is. You go around the world like recruiting dudes, getting into fights, and building up bigger and bigger armies, and eventually you start, establishing your own kingdom and taking over others, and I'm sort of in the early stages, and I'm happy to report this is very much a it's very similar to Warband, but there's been a lot of improvements, like quality of life improvements, streamlining to the UI to make just fiddling with stuff a lot easier this time around. Like
do you do a lot
finding,
of fiddling?
yeah, you do a lot of fiddling. It's Mountain Blade. And also like the early game, it's like way easier to get into. Like Mountain Blade, at least the mod I played, I didn't only play the Clash of Kings mod, the Game of Thrones mod for Mountain Blade, and that was very difficult to kind of get going to start your army out. Like I pretty much always had to join like some big lord or whatever to get going. But here I was able to kind of take out some looters and start making some money early on. It's just a lot friendlier to start up this time around, which is really good because it's a really popular series like in Europe, but I think some people kind of find it intimidating because it's traditionally been really tough to get into,
Because there's no guns.
tough to
People in
get
America
started.
don't want it.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's definitely possible.
Why would you want to play with a game without guns?
Mhm.
What's the point?
I mean, one day, Chris Davis, you'll try one without guns and you'll love it.
I actually wanted you to pitch me on this game because I never played Mountain Blade, but I was always interested in it. So
Crispy bought it and he's going to play it, but he's been having some crash issues, which is not unique to him. A lot of people have been complaining about instability and like quests that aren't working and stuff. It's very
I mean, that's
early
not uncommon in
access.
an early access game. So
Correct.
Especially in a game of this like scale.
Yeah, in a game of this scale where there's a lot running under the hood. I told Chris Davis to start later in the footage because earlier on in the footage, I'm just trying to show off combat, so I'm just chasing looters around, which aren't even really that challenging. But I just wanted to get into like a combat scenario. And early on, I engaged like a looter of it was like 5 looters, and there's like 45 people in my army. But just the sim happens. There's like other armies kind of running around, and an army of like 300 people joined in the fight. So it was like 400 people on the battlefield to kill 5 looters that didn't even have armor. And like it was fine in my game. I mean, in the game I was playing, but the footage was just ground to a halt, and I mean it's like unwatchable. It's like very
like 2 frames per second.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder how I'm going to be able to stream this game. But I love when stuff like that, semi stuff like that happens. It's hilarious.
On the streaming side, no, I had when I was trying that one time to stream Half-Life Alyx, I was like struggling with frame rate issues, and like it was taking up my seat, like chugging, like it was like hogging my CPU, and someone told me to switch encoders, and that actually had a really big impact. So maybe messing around with the encoder you're using will help.
I'll try to do that. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just playing Mountain Blade, and it's really fun and addictive, and I love Mountain Blade, and it's just a nice, friendlier, prettier version of Warband. So if you're into that, man, get it. And the multiplayer is great in these games as well.
When you
Because
said a 300-person army joined in, was that another player or is that?
No. I'm just playing single player.
Okay.
I mean, there's like straight up multiplayer battles where you can get into huge army fights with against another army. I mean, in the multiplayer, every person playing is a person in the fight.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that more games that are like this had kind of AI on AI battles, where like 2 commanders. I don't know if Mountain Blade has that. The only multiplayer I've ever done was the, like chivalry style one team versus another. I actually, I wonder, that would be really great if I could command my AI units versus another person. That would be really cool, actually. But honestly, it's pretty great. I'm going to stream it tomorrow night on my stream about 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I get into this. This is an example of early access. For whatever reason, the performance in this arena is just terrible. So, and I end up dying. It starts chugging.
Well, it's rendering so many characters on screen, like at the same time.
No, but this is just an arena. I mean, there's nobody on this screen.
It's an empty arena, and
it's an empty arena, and it's chugging. It's like something with the fucking sand or something. Honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah,
so
it's early. Like they have some optimizing to do.
Yeah, and typically I wait on an early access game until it's complete. But in a game that's so like simulation driven, that's so similar to something else I've like played before, like the final product is really not gonna. It might be better. There might be more to do. It might be like it's not like a story game, or it's not like a game that's I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but this is the kind of game that you might, if you're interested in it, you might as well just get it now while it's in early access. It's not going to be a dramatically different game when it comes out, whatever the fuck that means. So yeah.
Someday.
Now I'm just waiting for the Game of Thrones mods or whatever, Song of Ice and Fire mods. But somebody brought up a good point that everyone hates Game of Thrones now. Maybe they're not going to make a mod, but that's not true. Book readers love the universe, so I'll make something.
No, they'll want to make mods because they want to show up HBO and show them how to fucking make a good Game of Thrones experience.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole right now. But like, was that original Game of Thrones mod that was made for the original? Was that more based off of the popularity of the book or the show? I mean,
all of it, both probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean both.
I would say the show's popularity is what got it going, but I'm fairly certain the book lovers are the ones who made it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's very detailed, and there was multiple, and there was like Star Wars mods and Lord of the Rings mods. I mean, there's mods for like all kinds of shit. I mean, the Star Wars mod was hilarious.
The Star Wars mod where the horse was like a land speeder or whatever,
or a speeder bike. Yeah,
a speeder bike. Sorry, yeah.
That was a Wookiee with a lightsaber. That was great. That was great.
That
and that one,
awesome.
You moved around the map. It was actually like Star Destroyers and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyways,
a lot of
Bannerlord,
modding potential there.
cool.
That's cool.
Check
Yeah,
out my
so I
stream
guess
tomorrow.
tune in tomorrow. It's if you're listening to the audio for this, that'd be Friday the
Wait.
Or no, sorry. What the
Can we-
fuck day is this? The 3rd.
Don't kill the
April
footage yet.
3rd.
Don't kill the footage yet.
Okay.
Kill the footage.
There's one person here in this battle.
So it's your army attacking a single person.
Yeah, well, I kind of tell them to wait, and I'm doing tactics here. I'm kind of just practicing because you fiddle with a lot of like F keys and stuff to really get your like your cavalry flank going and your infantry to kind of time it right. I mean, it's tricky, but it's just one dude, and I'm like, oh, this poor guy. Wait, maybe
that must be terrifying.
There's 3 guys. It looks like.
Just
This is why I love
terrifying.
Mountain Blade. This is why I love Mountain Blade. It's always been like this sort of on the ground controlling units. It's why I loved Kingdom Under Fire back in the day. But this sort of fulfills my medieval fantasy.
Oh my god, that guy! The dude is like holding his ground. It's like holding his ground against like 200 dudes running right at him. You just flank him from the side. That's messed up, Brad. That's messed up.
Anyways,
but should make a very interesting stream. That'll be tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where else? So we have a few things to talk about that we've kind of already mentioned and talked about briefly. So I just want to kind of revisit a little bit. Maybe we can get the Half-Life discussion out of the way. Brad, if you want to step out for a second.
I'll take my headphones off.
So Nolan, you've been playing it.
Brad's a poo-poo head.
Brad does not want to be spoiled. He's removing his headphones. So Chris Davis and myself finished it. You're still playing it.
Yeah, I'm on chapter, maybe like a little bit into chapter 6.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know where there's 11, right?
Yeah, there's
Yes.
Yeah, there's 11 and like
chapter 5 was real fucking long.
Yeah, some of those chapters are like I did an entire 2-hour session and spent the entire time in one chapter. Never even saw the next chapter screen before I stopped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So some of them are pretty long, but towards the end, obviously, like a lot of games, they start to get a bit shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, like when this game was first announced, and Jeff Keighley was talking about it and was like, "Yeah, it's about a 15-hour game." That proved to be pretty much spot on. It took me about 14 hours to finish it. And I finished it last night. And of course,
I might be going a little bit slower than some other people. I'm definitely exploring environments pretty in depth.
So
I don't know how many hours I'm at right now, but
yeah, make sure you spend a lot of time exploring, looking for the resin.
Yeah.
One thing. So this is strange, and I found this to be strange both in Half-Life and Doom, which we'll talk about in a second. Both of these games did this, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Mm-hmm.
They give you the warning for like, this is your last chance to use resin to upgrade your stuff way earlier than I think was necessary. Like in this game, in Half-Life, they tell you at like...
You mean in Doom?
No, I'm talking about... Well, yes, they did it in Doom. I did like... They did it in Doom today. Like I have 3 missions left.
You said in this game and Half-Life.
Yeah, sorry. In this game and Doom. They both do this. But yeah, like in Half-Life, I was playing last night and I was going to finish the game, but I still played for like 2.5 hours, I think, probably
Mhm.
before I saw credits roll on it.
Mhm.
And I was still exploring environments and doing all the same stuff, getting in, firefights and whatnot. But they had basically told me there's not going to be any more resin or any more opportunities to upgrade your guns. So I
Mhm.
completely missed out on the chance to get the grenade launcher for my shotgun,
Mm.
which I really was saving up for.
It's
by the time I
really
realized-
good.
Yeah, by the time I realized that, I was like, my only option would be to like reload a fucking save and play like 2 hours that I had already done.
So you're saying you wish you would have known sooner?
Yeah, like it tells
Gotcha.
you in chapter, I think 9, maybe the very end of
it's
chapter
in
9.
10.
Is it in
Oh,
10?
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they tell you at the very beginning or so of chapter 10
Mhm.
that this is your last chance, and then you still have quite a ways to
So
go before it's over.
I just pulled it up. According to Steam, I'm at 8.8 hours, and I'm on
Uh-huh.
chapter 6, which I guess means I'll probably finish at
Yeah.
around, I don't know, like 15 maybe.
Yeah, because those last 2 chapters or so
Mhm.
go fairly quickly.
But one of the funny things is I've actually been saving up resin often when I get to a resin machine. What the
Yeah.
fuck do you call those?
An upgrade
Upgrade-
station.
Yeah, an
upgrade
upgrade
station,
station. There's been multiple times where I've been like, I have enough to buy a couple things, but I'm going to hold off. And one of the things was when I got my shotgun, I kind of started focusing on that, and I knew there was going to be an SMG, and I was like, I'm just going to maybe put a bunch in my shotgun because the SMG is probably not going to be good. Holy fuck, the SMG is real fucking good.
It
This game.
is.
SMG is very
Like
good.
it is so much better than like a Half-Life 2 SMG where I felt like I would just like spray and pray. This
Yeah.
feels like I can be pretty fucking accurate with it and shoot pretty fast.
It's a lifesaver a lot
Oh,
of the time.
And wait until
Also-
you get the extended clip for it. That makes it
I
even
just
better.
that's what I just got before or right as chapter 6 started was I was able to get the extended clip.
So I will
So now I have that, and I will say that there's there's two different, like you can get the laser sight and then like the scope for your guns. Don't get the scope, just get the fucking laser sight.
Well, I will
Like,
say
the
this.
scope
I
can
actually
be
I got the
helpful.
scope.
The laser sight is so helpful. You don't have to fucking look down the barrel.
Well, that being said, the scope actually highlights like weak
I know
points
what
in enemies.
highlights. I understand, but, you know what, Chris Davis? Head's the weak point. There's
There's
the fucking weak point.
I mean,
there's not
Not
enough variety in
necessarily.
enemy. There's not enough variety, I think, in enemies in this game to like justify. There's only like
Yeah.
3 or 4 enemies that you see repeatedly, and once you fought one, you know what their
Go
weak
that
points
way.
are.
Yeah, that's what I was say. What Nick said.
I
There's
mean-
only there's a couple enemies that have weak points that are in different places. But for the
like
most part,
the combine soldier with the
thing
flame
in his
take on his
arm?
back, like that's hard to hit. But if you have the scope,
But
it makes
also,
it a lot easier.
that scope does not highlight the
It
tank
does.
on his back.
It does.
It doesn't for me.
Well,
I've tried multiple times. Like I'm looking down the scope, it does not glow orange when I. So I've been relying almost entirely on visuals, and then when I got the laser sight, using that to
well,
hit it.
you might be shooting at the wrong soldier, but either way,
No,
it
no,
does.
I shit you not.
All right.
I very
that
vividly.
aside, sorry I brought up this conversation. In my opinion, I think the laser sight is far superior to the scope. I would say if you have to choose between one, in my opinion, I think you should choose the laser sight just because this is realistic. If you aren't looking down your sight and you're just slightly to the left, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
And so it is nice to have that laser sight because you can know immediately where you're gonna hit. I did feel like a huge portion of the first part of the game, I spent a lot of time fucking one eye closed trying to fucking aim down the sight to
Yeah.
make sure I wasn't wasting bullets.
Which is a cool feeling in and of itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah, it was.
when it was all said and done, the reason I brought up the warning about the resin thing is because I maxed out my pistol and then I maxed out the SMG, and I had when I got to that last upgrade station, I had 29 resin and I needed 40 to get the grenade launcher, and that was like the only upgrade I had
Oh,
left.
wow. You missed a lot of resin.
I mean, I spent a lot. I think a lot of those are really cleverly hidden, and I discovered
they
something.
definitely are.
Yeah.
Very late in the game, like past that point of no return, was when I realized that you can actually open car trunks.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you could open the doors and stuff, but like you can totally walk around to the back of like damaged cars and like open their trunks. And I didn't look in like a ton of those, so there's probably more than one that were.
I will
in
say
those
you
things.
probably passed a lot of cars that had nothing in the trunks.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
absolutely.
have been looking in trunks, and a lot of them have nothing in them.
It's just like I can't believe I made it that far and still feel like I almost feel like because I had unlocked everything except for the grenade launcher, I basically had missed. I could tell you I missed 11 resin in the entire game probably, assuming there's the exact amount you need to like upgrade.
I'm sure there might be a couple more.
Um,
But one of the things I wanted to bring up is I have been encountering a few glitches in the game that had kind of been frustrating. Not too many, but there's been some. The most recent one was I had like something stuck in my left like hand, like pouch, whatever pocket.
yeah.
Um,
Somebody in
and-
Discord last night was talking about that exact same glitch.
okay, well, I didn't see it last night, but Green Goddamn brought up something that helped me, and it was you swapped your gun hand. So I swapped it, and I swapped it back, and then it kind of works. So now I can store things in that pocket, but the icon for a grenade is still on there no matter what.
Oh,
So
that's weird.
if I put a grenade in there, I see like this fucking mashup of 2 grenades floating around, which is better than not having a fucking second pocket.
Yeah,
and
the only glitch I've run into is I for some reason my left control stick stopped working, so I couldn't actually move.
That's important.
Yeah,
I restarted the game and it worked just fine. So,
but I do think that the reasoning behind mine getting fucked up was because I had found that I was in that section where they throw a shit ton of grenades at you. They're like, here's 40 grenades. You can carry 2. And I was like, well, this is dumb and this game is very physicsy. So I threw them all in a bucket and I started carrying a bunch of grenades around in a bucket. And then the game just started crashing every time I would pick up a grenade that was from a different chapter of the game. I think that's what fucked it up because I did a bunch of testing. I honestly spent like way too long testing it, like at least half an hour. I had a bucket and I laid out all my grenades. And so here's if you don't know, if you have a grenade from like a different section, you can pick it up and throw it and do whatever you want. You can't move while you're holding it. As soon as you move while holding it, the game crashes. And so what I did was I made 2 piles. I made a pile of grenades that will crash my game and a pile of grenades that and this took me like at least 40 minutes. And then I fucking just got rid of all the bad grenades and brought the good grenades with me. And then eventually I just gave up and I was like, whatever, I don't need that many grenades.
How'd you know they were bad grenades? Was it just because they crashed your game?
So I made a pile. I made a row of them because, like I said, as long as you're not moving, nothing crashes. And so I made a row, and I would pick one up, and if I could move, I would put it in on the left side. And if I picked it up and moved, and the game crashed, when it reloaded, I would put that one on the right
The
side.
patience you must have, Nolan.
Dude, it
is
took so
insane.
fucking long. It took so long.
Someone in chat just said this, and I totally agree. That is a very Nolan thing to do, but I applaud you for doing it.
Yeah, I heard
also,
that there's a little Rocket Man achievement in the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a garden gnome that you can take from the beginning of the game to the end of the game.
Jesus
yeah, I
Christ,
feel like
that
that's-
would be ridiculous.
can you store them in your pocket?
I don't know.
I probably
I need to
think
find out.
you probably have to carry them the whole way.
And then every time you move, the game crashes.
Yeah, right.
That's bananas. I also want to mention a couple things. So I like pretty late in the game, like chapter 9 or 10, I started to experience like stuttering, like frame rate drops that I wasn't experiencing anywhere else. I was playing on medium fidelity for most of the game, and then I hit chapter 9 or so, and I had to knock it down to low, and then I had to manually turn the textures down to medium.
Oh wow!
And that was the only way I could get
you're
it
on
to run.
you're on a 1060, right?
1070
Or 1070? Yeah. Okay.
And that fixed most of the
I
problems.
mean, in
but
all honesty, how much of a difference could you see between those textures?
very, very, very little.
Yeah, so
difference.
that was the thing. So I noticed that the game recommended me play on low. And I was like, you know what? I got a 1080. I could probably put it up a little bit.
And you're like,
I bumped
"Fuck
it
you."
up, and then I can't fucking tell a difference.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, fuck it. Let me just drop it down to low. It looks the fucking same to me. Yeah, I'm sure there's maybe some texture that if I had them side by side, I could tell, but I can't. So I was like, fuck
It's
it.
also
Play it on
like
low.
different
best
when you
frame
have
rate.
the goggles
Yeah.
on, right? Like the goggles are kind of like controlling, like your depth of field is way different than if you're looking at a monitor.
Yeah, for sure.
But I will agree that we had brought it up last week, and I've seen it even more so lately, that this, even though I am playing on the lowest textures, I can still walk up to anything in the game and read it. If it's a sign on a wall, if it's a fucking post-it note on like a fucking bulletin board, I could read every word that's on.
Here's the thing.
That's
I don't
cool.
know how much you tweaked or went into the custom advanced settings,
Mhm.
but like even if when you turn it down to low, the only setting it does not change is the textures. Textures stay on high by default.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it turns like everything else down, but leaves textures high, which is, but even then, I knocked it down from high to medium,
Mhm.
and I still couldn't tell much of a difference at all. But like they've handled like the the visual settings and everything beautifully in this game.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So I do want to say, Chris and I finished it last night, and we set up a Half-Life Alyx spoilers channel in Discord for this purpose, so I don't want to go into specifics, obviously, for obvious reasons.
That being
But
said, holy shit.
fucking shit. Holy shit. I think that's all I can say is holy
Fucking
shit.
fantastic.
No need to go into spoilers, but my god, one of the I can't even believe they did what they did. It's incredible. I can't wait for you to finish it. This is one of those few games where I'm like, maybe we should do a spoiler cast for this.
It's been one of those things where in all honesty, the only reason I haven't finished it is just because it takes a little bit for me to set it up. You can't just press go and I'm playing. You know, and honestly, it's a saving grace. I have where it fucking is here. I have a standing mat because when I work from home, I like to stand at my desk, but obviously after a long time, it gets uncomfortable.
Yep.
But I've been using that as like a positioning device when I'm playing VR, and it makes my life so much easier because I automatically know where the TV is without having to like pull up the Oculus's like see-through mode or anything.
Yeah.
I can always like reposition myself, and it's been super helpful.
Well, in Steam VR, like it'll show you the middle position of your play area.
But and I think this is definitely a thing with Half-Life, because I haven't seen it in any other game. No matter whatever direction I'm looking. So if I take my head and I turn it 90 degrees to the left and I bring up the menu, that is now my forward direction.
Yeah.
Forever until I change it again.
Yeah.
So if you look down at your feet, they'll now be facing that way.
I guess
which is kind of nice because at any point in time, if the game accidentally fucks up, I can reset myself fairly easily. But with that mat, it's like made my life so much easier because I always know which direction is facing forward. And plus, I'm standing up for a very long time, and it's nice to have like an anti-fatigue mat.
Explain how the mat thing works.
No, I was just saying, Brad, that when I'm in like VR, sometimes you can get your north, whatever.
No, I got the purpose of it, but how does it functionally work?
No, like the game doesn't know about it. It's for myself.
I know, but how do you know the orientation of the mat or whatever?
Well, because the mat's it's
rectangle. Longer on one side, yeah.
Yeah, it's a rectangle. It's not a square. So I mean, I know that like when my feet are like in a certain way, and if I turn and I'm stepping, I can easily just feel it with my feet. And then at any point in time, like I said, in Half-Life at least, I don't know how many VR games more need to do this. When you bring up the menu, that is now your like straight ahead. And so I can use that mat to kind of figure out which direction I should be facing just to make life easier. Like I said, in reality, it doesn't really matter any fucking direction.
As someone who doesn't have that
the
mat
VR headset that you have, can you see out the bottom?
No, you can't. But the nice thing about mine, and you'll know if you borrow Nick's or you borrow mine.
Yeah.
When you double click the menu button, you can get a see-through. So
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I cannot. I mean, if I kind of lift it a little bit, I can see. But no, you can't really see out the bottom.
Yeah.
I sometimes have to do that to check on the cat because she refuses to leave my room. So that makes playing VR scary. I actually have like I did I set the parameters up for my room, but now I have this giant chair set over to the side so the cat can sleep in it. So I really have like a very small. It was a miracle I did not hit that cat while I was playing this game, but I did it.
So who all finished it here?
I finished it. Chris and I both finished it last night.
I'm the only one who hasn't, and you're not playing it. You don't.
No, I haven't played it. I don't have a PC VR now.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, luckily you have friends that do.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure you have a chance to play it soon. Let's move on. There's a couple other games we want to quickly mention. I don't have a lot to add about Doom Eternal, but there is something I wanted to bring up that's transpired, I guess, for me since last week. Because last week I feel like we talked about it and we were pretty positive on it. And to be honest, to be very clear about this, I'm still positive on this game. I think it's a great fucking video game. But this game, for me personally, has kind of overstayed its welcome very noticeably. Like at this point, I'm just like ready for it to be over, and I still have 3 more missions to go. And I feel like that's worth bringing up. And there's been some talk, I know, about some people being disappointed in this game versus Doom 2016, and I don't know I don't know how much of my disappointment or how much of my experience that I'm having is really based upon my opinions of Doom 2016 and less of just about the gameplay loop. It has a very specific gameplay loop, and it's gotten old. It's literally just go from one room to the next. They throw a bunch of dudes at you, and you just run in circles and fight and switch between guns. And
Is the weapon variety not like is that what's causing the problem here?
I mean, maybe. I mean, the thing is, the weapons they give you are good, and you spend a lot of time upgrading them. Although,
How many of them are
caveat.
new?
I mean, to be honest, I don't remember much about the weapons from the first one. I mean, you obviously had the super shotgun, which was in both, right?
Well, the ballista's new. The Unmaker's new.
The Unmaker is one you have to physically unlock. I just did that today. Like, you have to go through a bunch of hoops to get that. So, like, weapons they just give you in the... There's only, like, 8 that they just give you. The other ones you have to, like, work for.
There's actually a pistol in the game that they cut out, but you can activate through the console on PC.
That's cheating.
There's actually this burst pistol. It's kind of interesting to look at.
Definitely not going to... Well, I'm playing on PS4. Like, I don't even have that option. I mean, I find the weapons to be a little underwhelming. Like, some of the weapons, like the ballista he mentioned, I barely ever touch. It's usually just, like, when I run out of ammo and everything else, and I'm just trying to frantically shoot something until I can find more ammo.
Right.
Like, I'll do that.
I think the ballista's great.
And that's, I think play styles are going to vary from person to person. And
it's basically this game's version of the Arc Cannon.
It did, yeah. And I like all the alt fires. I did pull a Nolan. I'm going to be very forthcoming about this fact. I pulled a Nolan. I made it all the way to the end of the game, literally to the point where you're about to go through the point of no return, which is dumb. Like I said earlier, like when you go through the point of no return, there's still 3 missions left, which is weird. But I got all the way to that point without realizing there was a whole weapons upgrade system I had not been using. I had not been upgrading any of my weapons beyond actually unlocking the alternate firing modes, but you can upgrade those independent firing modes with tokens. And I realized yesterday I had 78 tokens that had been unused. So I just went through and fucking unlocked everything. And then when you do
How
that...
big of a difference does that make?
Yeah.
I mean, they make a pretty big difference. It makes a big difference in terms of the flow of the fights, because
I mean, that's probably why you're so exhausted from it, right? Like,
but I've played another 5 hours probably since then.
Gotcha.
And it makes battles that normally took longer go faster, because a lot of the upgrades that you're doing make you move faster, make you reload faster, things like that. But the actual the act of what you're doing is still exactly the same. You're just running frantically around these giant maps, shooting things until everything dies, and moving on to the next one. And honestly, I haven't found many of the levels in this game to be particularly memorable. They're all just kind of bleeding together for me at this point. I don't know. There's something about the way Doom 2016, the way it looked, I think that appealed to me more. And maybe this is just more in line with classic Doom, I guess. I don't know. So I don't know. Something about me.
I think it's more like Doom 2016 than you remember it to be, because what you just described is basically what that game was.
I know, and honestly, that might be it. It might be that I didn't really want a sequel to Doom. I like Doom 2016 a lot. It made it into my top 10 that year, just barely. I love that game, but maybe I just wasn't really interested in a sequel to it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Doom 2016 or Control.
Control.
Oh my god.
Doom. Oh, what? Sorry, I thought you were about Doom.
Got him.
I mean, honestly, I'd probably still say Control. If you're gonna put me on the spot.
That you're because you missed out on all those weapon upgrades, you missed out on some of the enhancements to the gameplay loop that you get in combat. For example,
I mean,
so the super
like
shotgun.
I said, I mastered the super shotgun yesterday.
Okay.
After I figured all this out.
So you understand what its function is now.
It gets you more armor when you use the hook shot to latch on. It sets them on fire, and then they give you more armor, right?
Yeah, so it's basically the fire burst that you would do normally to get armor, but now you use it in combination with the shotgun to where it becomes just this fucking one-man cannon destroying enemies.
And don't get me wrong, like I don't want to make it sound like I think the combat in this game is bad, because I don't. I think the combat in this game is insanely good. It is super fun, but I think for me personally, I think it was super fun for about 8 to 10 hours maybe. I'm going on like hour 16 or 17 right now, and I'm just like, please God, let it be over. But
you can just like stop.
I know, but I'm so close. I'm so close. I also want to say,
I did that with Builders too, and I was still
You
pretty happy with
fool!
that game.
You fool! It got so good towards you, Brad. Like where you stopped in that game was right when the game started getting good.
I played over 50 hours of it.
It doesn't matter. You stopped at the fucking castle level, right?
Yeah.
The ending of that one and the next one are so fucking good. Like if you liked that game, if you would have finished it, it would have been so much higher on your list.
Wait till Nick plays the last 3 levels of Doom. It's gonna blow his mind.
Yeah, where exactly are you right now, Nick?
He's at his house.
I told you it's like it's called like Novigrad or something. Okay. Like it's the I'm in like the Hell Factory, if that tells you anything.
Okay, so you're about to get the last weapon you're gonna get in the game.
I know. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not trying to like poo-poo this game, because I had a lot of fun with it. I just stopped having a ton of fun with it a while ago.
Let me translate. Let me translate for you. Dude, Nick loves everything. And that's what we love about him. But when he says this, that means like he despises it.
That is not true. That is, stop spreading lies.
I'm kidding.
Not true. Not true.
There was one game that he actually legitimately despised, and it was the 4th Onimusha game.
Yeah. I fucking hate
you mean that fucking fan game? We're not talking about that.
Chris Davis knows what I'm talking about. That
fucking piece of shit. Fuck that.
And I played through Dino. I know these aren't really related, but somehow tangentially they're related in my head. But like, I played through Dino Crisis 3, and I don't even feel that way about that game.
Dude, I found a community of people that think that's the best one.
That's bizarre.
What happened to those people?
3rd Dino Crisis.
That is bizarre and just objectively wrong.
Yeah, Nick, I want you to finish this game.
I'm going to. I'm going to try and finish it tonight.
When I play this, when I finally get around to playing this, which I will, I'm going to play this on easy. I'm going to have a good ass time.
I'm going to be honest with you, Nick. You're not going to finish that game tonight. The chapters,
you're probably right.
11 and 12.
You're probably right.
It's a 2-parter, and they're pretty long.
Okay, thank you for the warning. Real quick things. I'm usually a sucker for like lore and reading notes and shit, right? I can't get through a sentence reading the lore shit in this game. I can't do it. I start reading a sentence and then I realize I'm thinking about something completely unrelated. Like before I even get to the end of the sentence.
You would like the lore better if they got like that demonic narrator from the last game in there to say all those lines.
Reading lore in a game like this is not the way to go. Not how lore should have been presented in this game. It
sucked when they did it in Doom 3, and it stayed sucking.
No, it was good in Doom 3. I liked what they did in Doom 3.
But isn't Doom 3 more like a survival horror where you find like notes in the environment? This is just like you enter a room and it's like codex entry, and you hit the button and then it's just this like wall of text, and you're just like.
And yet, you have to read it. Doesn't it's not like audio logs or anything.
No audio logs.
It's like stopping to read notes in Pac-Man or something.
I will say this. I will say the character called is it Dr. Samuel Hayden? Is that
Hayden,
his name?
Yeah.
He's returning. He's from the first game. His voice is like so just good to listen to. If he narrated these things, I'd be listening to all of them. But damn, hearing my own boring ass voice in my head read these things. No,
pretty boring.
I'll tell you what, you actually, if you put the time in to actually read some of these codex and read about the history of all these characters, like there's
saying it's not
fucking cool shit in there.
I'm not saying it's not good stuff. It is just presented all wrong. But that's just me. Let's move on from Doom. We have one more game to talk about before we cut for break. Nolan,
what up?
How's it going? How do you still hate peaches?
So that remains to be seen.
I feel like you should be wearing the horse mask for this conversation.
I'm confused as to how this fucking system works, because we're
talking about Animal Crossing now, by the way.
Animal Crossing New Horizons. Every fucking person in the world told me that trees need one space around them to grow. but I got some fucking cherry trees that won't grow for shit, and I don't know why. My apple trees grew, my pear trees grew, my cherry trees won't fucking grow, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, they might be
The
too
reason,
close.
yeah, thanks. I know that now, Brad, potentially.
Oh.
The reason I was frustrated with peaches was because every island I was going to was a fucking just peach island, and they all had
Millions of
peaches, and I couldn't find islands. I still, to this day, do not think I've been to an island that has not had peaches or oranges. I've never been to an island that's have native pears, apples, or cherries. The pears, apples, and cherries I currently have were given to me by like community members who I visited their island or they visited mine. So, a couple things I wanted to talk about. I am farther in the game, so more stuff is starting to develop. Brad, I am getting a little more into the kind of like world development, building things and designing things.
Yeah.
I've upgraded, my resident center and blah blah blah, and so now I can make my own like theme song or whatever, like a little theme. So whenever you talk to people or whenever certain things happen, like a kind of theme plays,
Yeah.
and you create your own.
And so I used to do like Saria song and shit like that.
Yeah. So since my island is Shadow Moses, my theme is now do 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 do. And so like anytime like I go and talk to a different villager, it plays that. And I also designed my flag so it's the fox emblem.
Nice.
And my next step is, and it's the only reason I haven't done it is because it's fucking time consuming. Is I am going to create like a snake like sneaking suit outfit for my villager. So that's my plan.
Did you sell your turnips yet?
Yes, and I did sell my turnips. Unfortunately, your island you mentioned the other day had a much higher price. I think I only made a profit of like $36 per turnip. So I ended up with 750,000 bells. If I would have sold them on your island, I would have made, hold on, let me do some quick math.
Crunch those numbers.
One times I think I probably would have made around 90,000 more bells if I would have sold them on your, maybe a little more than that. But yeah, so that we brought it up briefly last week, I think, is the stock market, STALK, and that every Sunday a villager comes to your island who sells turnips for a price. It's kind of weird. It changes every week. Other people's islands have different prices. You buy them, and then throughout the week, Timmy and Tommy will buy turnips at varying prices. And so it's all about trying to maximize your price that you get for these turnips. But anyway, so the other new thing that's going on is that we've encountered the first event in Animal Crossing New Horizons. It is now they don't call it Easter, they call it like
Bunny Week or something.
Bunny Day or something like that is the event on the 12th, and now we have started the events leading up to that. So,
and a new season.
Correct. Yes, April 1st was the start of a new season. So March 31st was the last day. A bunch of wildlife, bugs, and fish are no longer around. Obviously, the northern and southern hemisphere have different animals to begin with, but the new season started, so obviously new stuff. But anyway, the new season also brought Zipper T Bunny. Who is a guy in a bunny outfit who is very reminiscent of the Silent Hill bunny.
You have my attention.
Yeah. He has like a little zipper on his back, and I'm fairly certain if you were to unzip that, he would probably look like when Gluttony in Full Metal Alchemist opens his stomach and it's like a void of darkness and teeth. Pretty sure that's what would happen if you unzipped a Zipper T bunny.
I thought you were going to say he would be naked.
Nope. I think it's worse than that. But anyway, so he's on your island. He's like, "Hey, I'm Zipper T Bunny. Find my eggs." And you're like, "What? Like eggs?" And so now there's fucking eggs everywhere. There's eggs growing on trees. There's eggs in the ground. There's eggs floating in the sky. When you go fucking fishing, like 80% of the fish I catch are fucking eggs. It's just eggs everywhere. I go to chop down a tree, and instead of wood coming out of it, eggs come out of it.
What the shit?
There's just fucking eggs everywhere. And the reasoning behind that is between the 1st and the 12th, every day, like new recipes can be found for egg shit. And if you were able to complete them all on the egg bunny day of the 12th, Zipper T Bunny will give you like a special thing. I don't know what it is. If you're able to craft all of the things.
Sounds like an excellent challenge.
Yeah. But anyway,
what's your favorite KK song?
Dude, Aloha is the one I'm rocking with right now. I don't know if people have different songs probably on different because every day the Nook stop in your town will sell a new KK Slider album, which you can play in your house. In your house, you can have every time you enter it, you can have if you have a jukebox.
Dude, I saw a gif of someone had put a radio out in the world out of their house, and one of the villagers was singing along to the song.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I have a question.
What's up, Nick?
So this is week 2 of talking about Animal Crossing.
Mhm.
Brad's played a little bit. Nolan, you've had a lot of anecdotes about your time with Animal Crossing.
Mhm.
Now that you've spent more time with it,
Mhm.
are you enjoying it? It sounds
I've always been enjoying it. It's like I said, the frustrating thing was one of the things I had heard about were these islands that had emperor butterflies and tarantulas, and you go there and you get to fucking catch a bunch of them. And the whole point of that is tarantulas sell for 8,000 bells a piece, which is a lot of fucking bells. Like a grasshopper sells for like 80. So the difference in between catching an 80 bell grasshopper and an 8,000 bell tarantula is pretty fucking big. And I'd never seen one. After that podcast, I think someone had mentioned it in chat. They said there's a way you can kind of force a tarantula island. And so I was able to do that once. And then I actually did on my own eventually find a tarantula island. And that is literally just like tarantulas just keep spawning and you can keep catching them.
They're scary.
Dude, they are fucking scary because they fucking attack you.
Because they're tarantulas.
Yeah. But if anyone didn't know, yes, you can force spawn a tarantula island. And the reason behind that is literally just game logic. If you clear all of the flowers and all of the trees and all of the rocks off of an island, all of the bugs that normally spawn because of those things can't spawn. So you're kind of forcing the game to have a limited number of bugs and insects it can spawn, which forces it to more likely spawn tarantulas. So I was able to successfully do that once. It does take a little bit. It took me like 30 minutes to clear all of the stuff off of this random island. But because of that, I was able to get a shit ton of tarantulas, and I ended up making like, I don't know, like 300,000 bells or something from like a single trip. Yeah. Which I was able to just turn around and then pay off my current home loan. But my existing home loan is 748,000 bells. So I'm a ways away from paying that one off.
Animal Crossing is the game about paying a mortgage, right?
It's all about debt. Everything's debt. Yeah, everything. Oh, you want to upgrade your house? You know, it starts off at like 50, like maybe at like 90,000, and the next one's like, I don't know, like 200, and then 500, and now my current one's like 750,000, and then all these villagers like come in. It's like, oh, you want to move a villager's house? That's 50,000 bells, and like there's like everything is just like money.
But couldn't you like sell your old house to help pay for your new house?
I don't have an old house.
So you only have one house.
Yeah, you just upgrade it. Yeah, you just add an extra room onto it each time you upgrade it.
Okay.
You're selling stuff. The person you're getting money from is the person you're paying back. You're selling stuff to the person who you're giving that money back to. It's really fucked up.
It's a fucking racket.
Speaking of money laundering.
Yeah, no, pretty much, yeah.
It's called money laundering the game.
Tom Nook is a crook. But yeah, so I am enjoying it. I don't play it as much as I did the first few days. The first few days I was definitely playing it like 3-4 hours. Maybe not. That might be an exaggeration a day.
It's designed to get to a point where you don't have to play it all day. Yeah.
So yeah, now for your dailies every once in a while.
Yeah, so now I'm probably playing like maybe an hour and a half a day. And one of the reasons that is actually me and Bernadette got into Overcooked 2. We started playing that together. Just because, you know, quarantine. And so yeah, so we've been playing a bit of that. Thankfully our marriage is still going strong.
Yeah, there's no fun in that game. It's all business. Leah was so mean to me when I played that game.
Well, you did fuck up.
I can imagine. I try not to be mean. I definitely know there are times where I get a little like, that's not how you do it.
I would love to be a fly on.
Maybe you fucking throw me some meat.
You goddamn throw it to me. But I try not to. Hopefully, I never made Bernadette upset. I know, like, I tried to be realistic about everything. I'm sure she's watching us right now and crying with flashbacks of helicopters and Flight of the Valkyries playing in her head.
This game has the angriest community.
What?
I mean,
Like that meme that's been going around about, like, you know, the Doom community's like, oh, it's okay, just take your time, just play at your own pace, you'll have fun. And then, like, this fucking Joker doesn't have a fucking $800,000 house. He hasn't ascended the mountain and touched the face of God yet.
But we're talking about Overcooked.
Yeah, we switched
talking about
topics. But yeah, no, yes, you are right. Animal Crossing does have that series of people, but it also has a fucking series of people who fucking time skip, and all of a sudden they can have whatever they want.
Yeah, except they're turnips, because if you time skip,
but the hatred for these people that are just trying to play the fucking game, like,
I mean, I think it's funny because the Doom community and then the Animal Crossing community are two very like diametrically opposed, like in terms of their like just their intensity, I guess about the games that they're playing. It's crazy.
But
yeah,
one thing I
somewhat the
will
same
mention,
too.
one
That
thing I
too.
will mention is compared to other people's islands, my island looks like a shithole. I see all these other people posting like these elegantly designed like walkways and paths and
That guy
houses
that
with-
made the Link to the Past world map as his
exactly
island?
like
That was
shit
so
like that.
cool.
Is
And
the
my
island that
island-
big?
Not
I mean,
quite,
it's
but
not-
I mean,
it's not
you
to
can
scale.
yeah. But like people will come to my island, they're like, man, you got a lot of weeds here. And I'm like, fuck off. Like, I don't play for fucking 4 hours a day. I don't have had time to pick 2,000 weeds up off my island.
Animal
I'll
Crossing,
get there
man.
eventually.
It brings out the worst in people.
But yeah,
It
I
does.
will say that I did visit the egg god. I don't know what her, I believe, Twitch name is, but it's the egg god in Discord island with Villasaurus yesterday, and we had a fucking grand old time. We were
Nice.
like catching bugs. Like apparently there's a thing you can buy a timer from the store, and when the person who has it sets it off, it starts off like kind of like a competition, and everyone has to catch as many bugs and fish as they can within 10 minutes. But the problem is fucking during the egg festival time, so all we're catching in the river is fucking eggs that don't count. But that was fun. And then the egg had some like music set up. It posted it in Discord if you go back in the Animal Crossing chat and scroll back a little bit. Kind of rocking out with some music, and then
Nice.
we beat up one of the villagers there, and that was kind of fun.
just casually,
Damn.
and we beat up one of the villagers right there.
Yeah, I mean when they deserve it.
You know,
just-
do they have the
Mhm.
pit the pit hole? What do they fucking call them? Pitfalls.
Pitfalls?
I haven't seen any pitfalls.
I don't know what a pitfall is.
So in the original or in the other games, you had these things called pitfalls that you can bury in a hole, and you could
Someone could fall into it or something.
it would look like just a thing in the ground that you dig up, but if you walked over it, you'd fall in a hole and you'd be like, "Ah."
What
and
the
you could-
fuck?
You could push villagers into the pitfalls. This shit is
Wow.
hilarious. Yeah,
That's fucked up.
I don't know if they have that in this. I haven't seen.
I haven't seen one. Also, droids. You used to dig up droids all the time, which were these little fire hydrant robots. You know, when you construct like a
Yeah. I know some of those little robot guys. Yeah.
Yeah, you used to be able to collect those things. You dig them up and you click on them and they make like weird noises and animations, and those aren't in the game either. It's weird.
It's a garbage game.
Yeah.
So,
But
Throw it in the
I'll
trash.
I meant to capture footage. I've been busy with work because the game looks very different now because we're in a new season. So the leaves on the trees are different colors. There's new animals and like insects and stuff. So I'll try and capture some footage for next week, just so y'all can see the kind of difference in between.
Cool.
You know, I think I don't know what season it was because I think it's spring. So I don't know if it was technically winter before.
I think
Because
it
now
was.
we're in
Yeah,
spring.
that would make sense. I think.
I mean, there wasn't snow, so I don't know how the Animal Crossing seasons work exactly yet. I've only seen 2. But yeah, now
cherry
there's
blossoms.
cherry blossoms, and there's like cherry blossoms floating down, and you can like catch them in your net and craft like cherry blossom like items out of them and stuff. It's kind of cool.
That's cool. All right. Well, yeah. Feel free to bring footage of that. I like to see.
I'll get some for next week.
I'm like this close to maybe picking it up because I know Robin wants to play it. Robin wants to play it because she found out you can buy gnomes at the store.
You can.
Or, yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I would like to
decorate your
just-
lawn with a bunch of gnomes.
Yeah, Robin's all in about gnomes. All right, so let's take a short break. When we come back, we got some news to cover, and we'll answer a few questions from our supporters on Patreon and all that jazz. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, fine. Fuck it. This is the show. That's gonna be a weird edit. I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna fit this into the audio.
Welcome
but
back to the show, and then we talk about The Last of Us.
It's like 8 minutes in, guys. The Last of Us 2 has been delayed. This is the crazy thing. The Last of Us 2 has been delayed indefinitely. That's crazy. Like we knew
That
stuff like
word
this
is
was gonna
so
start
stupid.
happening. I mean, it's stupid. Like usually when you see like right now,
It's like
obviously
literally, people use it to mean like never.
no. I
like,
mean,
it's
it just means unspecified. It
Yeah.
means we don't know.
I know what it means, but when people
People interpret it as never.
people
Yeah.
interpret it as
So it's not definite.
yeah.
It just makes me think of what we do in the shadows. You're banished indefinitely.
I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 was quote unquote delayed indefinitely from a release date that was 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5 was?
Yeah. They
Why?
delayed an entire year.
Oh, because that was probably because that was like an actual development issue, wasn't it? Like they realized it wasn't ready.
Yeah.
That's a little different. We're talking about this is a delay as a direct result of a global health pandemic. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like we just saw an entire wave of like movies get delayed, and the weird thing is what makes The Last of Us so I guess special in terms of the way they're doing this delay is obviously like you see film production companies and publishers and saying like we're delaying this film. It's now going to be released in November. So you right out of the gate you kind of know when to expect it. Like they're just saying who knows? Like
Well, they're saying it's going to come out when all the shit's over.
Yeah,
When they can be reliably sure that the manufacturing and the shipping industry is back to a standard like point that they can be confident that when they say we're shipping this, people are going to get it not
On
in
that
4
day.
month, but
Right.
when they're supposed to get it. And I
Yeah,
understand that.
I think it's for the best, to be honest. I mean, it sucks. It fucking sucks that this happens, and I know a lot of people are really disappointed, myself included. But at the same time, like this whole thing feels like just like a shadow, kind of like looming over everything right now. And it even it even feels kind of like gross to be like looking forward to like The Last of Us when all this, you know what I mean? It's not, on one hand, it's like
Maybe they also don't want the
escapism.
game to come out when it's in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, that's another thing. It is a game about a fucking.
Yeah. Maybe they just are trying to make the timing a little bit better.
You say that, but at the same time,
It
the
happened to
Division 2 is
disaster
getting record player numbers right now. So
What
Doom
is?
is not about a pandemic.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
it is
we're
about a
supposed-
pandemic.
Wait, no,
right.
yeah, the Division is specifically about a
Yeah.
pandemic.
Oh, Division. Is that what you said? I thought you
Oh,
said
Yeah.
Doom.
I heard of it. I had Doom
Yeah.
too.
But that game is
What?
already out, and it's like you can't. They're like, well, we're pulling this up. We're not going to make this accessible for the
Yeah.
foreseeable future. That's already out in the open.
That's more a function of people being locked indoors and can't leave, so they have to
What
pick
if
some
what
game
if
to
they're
play.
actually redoing the story of Last of Us to make it to where
Not
it's
about-
not? Well, yeah, no, it's like maybe
It's aliens.
Last of Us 2 was like it was actually a virus invented in China, and they're like, oh shit,
Oh,
maybe we should
God.
redo that
A
real
little
quick.
too on the nose.
Yeah, they're like, fuck, let's redo this.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? So yeah, that's Last of Us 2, man.
Honestly,
It's
and
funny.
I've been, and we talked about this a little bit in Discord earlier today. That yeah, more games will probably get delayed. And that's just gonna be how it is. And I've been wanting this to happen for a long time now.
I mean,
Mainly just because I have a backlog, and I want to specify that I understand that delay, this delay cycles and crunch culture are horrible. And if these delays mean people are having to work more for less pay, I don't agree with it. But if it just means that the game's going to sit on a shelf and wait to come out, I'm fine with that because there's plenty of other games I need to fucking play.
Yeah.
yeah, this is a perfect time for everybody to just hunker down and work on that backlog. Just play some stuff you may have missed. It's fun. Yesterday, I saw. It's funny. They knew they were going to make this announcement yesterday, but they didn't want to do it because it was April 1st. Like they're like, we can't announce a delay of The Last of Us 2 on April 1st.
Well, that was like another thing maybe we'll talk about tonight.
I feel like it's a good time to stream some games from the year 2000.
That's true. That's true. By the way, if you want to support us on Patreon, when we hit, what was it, 150? I don't know, 170.
Our next tier.
When we hit our next goal in Patreon, we're going to do a streaming month where we play nothing but old games from a specific year of our choosing. Maybe 2000. Who knows? But anyways, back to what I was saying. Yesterday, I saw a tweet that was like, even before I saw any like April 1st tweets, the first thing I saw yesterday was like, today's the day we can finally say The Last of Us 2 comes out next month. Like the first thing I saw. And then today this happens. That person's probably kicking themselves. But to be honest, kind of saw it coming. We live in strange times. Unprecedented shit is happening in the world, so we're gonna be feeling the effects of this for quite some time.
Last of Us is one of those games that I know is gonna be good, but like I'm not clamoring to play it. Maybe because I feel like I know what it is.
It's weird. I'm very much clamoring to play that game.
Yeah, I'm very.
It's very different than something like Cyberpunk, right?
Where you don't know, it's not a proven quantity yet.
Yeah. There's like some excitement over something new or unknown, or is this going to be good? We know it's going to be good. It's fucking Naughty Dog. We know what kind of game it is. We're all going to fucking cry and shit. Been there before.
True. Absolutely true. So there has been some maybe positive news in the past couple days. And this was it yesterday or the day before? It was it was the anniversary of the release of Nier, right?
Oh yeah,
the original Nier.
10th anniversary.
Yeah. So Square Enix announced that, and this is weird because it's Nier, of course it's weird. But they announced a remaster / remake / what do they call it?
Upgrade.
An upgrade. A Nier replicant upgrade.
Yeah. So first of all, we never got Nier replicant in the US.
It's the same game, except the main character is Yuna's older brother. His older brother instead of her father.
Yeah. Of course, being Nier, it's strange, but like the differences between. So in Japan, they got Nier replicant, Nier Gestalt. We got Nier Gestalt, I guess, in America, but it was just called Nier. So they're releasing Nier replicant in the West. It's an upgrade. I don't at this point like. That game came out how many years ago?
I believe 2010.
Yeah,
20 when it came out.
And it was like, it was Xbox 360, PS3 era. Like, I feel like, what does this mean? Is this going to be like, should we expect a significant visual upgrade? But at that point, why would you not?
No.
Dude, it looked like garbage back then. It's going to look like garbage.
You don't think they would upgrade this to make it look more like Automata, which is like one of the biggest hits?
No. This is a fucking port.
But they're not calling it a port. Like they're being very specific, like about calling it something other than a port.
Who would even be making that?
They're calling it.
Didn't they say Platinum is involved in this, or was that the mobile game?
I think it's the fucking mobile game.
Yeah. They're calling it an upgrade, quote unquote, because that fits into the theme of the Nier universe.
Yeah, they're calling it a new version, right?
Yeah,
it's like version 1.22, which is like the whole number they say is like the square root of 1.5 or whatever.
It's bizarre.
Look,
also, funnily enough, the third result on Google when you type Nier Remaster is, can people stop asking for a Nier Remaster?
Yes, they can now officially. I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I liked the original Nier quite a bit.
It was my game of the year, and I don't even care about this.
Really?
I have the game. Look, the only remasters I get excited about are ones that are not like standard def games that are already like in HD. You can plug it in via an HDMI cable. Stop porting those and calling them remasters. Okay, you're just tuning up the resolution a little bit.
You're not. The thing is, you played Gestalt. You haven't played Replicant. Are you not interested?
I don't want
to play
Replicant. I like Papa Nier. I think it's a better story.
Papa Nier.
But you didn't play it, so you don't know.
You didn't play it.
what the story's like.
I'm specifically interested in playing the content that I've never seen before.
Yeah, I mean, hey, sure. But
I mean, I would imagine that kind of changes the context of the whole story.
I don't think so.
I would
I've
be
read a
interested to
lot
see
about
if they
these games and the differences.
I would like to see if they actually retain that Papa Nier content, though. Like, you play through the original game, and then you unlock the American Western version.
I mean, no, I'm pretty sure this is just.
I mean, hey, it's good that it exists if more people will try it now that the series is more popular.
I mean,
It's like how I say Wonderful 101. I still think the Wii U version is the best way to play, but if more people are going to try it now, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we've spent a little bit of time on this.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
You would
I was
say
excited
we've
for it.
spent
Now
nearly-
I feel less excited.
Yeah.
So, like, all right. Speaking of remasters, we want to talk about the Mario stuff.
Oh
Wait,
yeah,
I don't
so
know about the Mario stuff.
Oh, you
Damn.
don't know it at all?
Dude, I don't
ready,
boy.
Nolan.
Oh,
I
So-
know nothing that's going on in the world.
okay.
A game magazine and like Eurogamer confirmed that
multiple sources.
multiple sources are saying that we're getting a remaster of Galaxy, Sunshine, and 64 this year
Oh shit!
on the Switch, and
and
a new Paper Mario.
a brand new Paper Mario game that is not like it's like the older ones.
I've been wanting to replay Galaxy 2. not the
I've been
original
wanting to
one.
Yeah,
replay it.
Galaxy 2 is not included in a
Yeah.
lot of the leaks, but people are saying it probably is. There's no confirmation on 2.
I feel like that would be a great like double pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I mean, no, that's the other thing. They're saying that all 3 of these games will be on the same
Mario
cartridge
All
too.
Stars
Oh
2.
shit!
Mario
Yeah.
All
Really?
Stars 2.
Yeah.
My
or
next
3D
question
All
was if
Stars.
I wasn't sure if rumors were about these being all digital releases or physical.
Oh
Dude.
shit!
Let me
Which
ask
is
you
body
very
this.
unusual since
Sign
Nintendo
me
likes
up
to
for that.
remaster their games and charge $60 for them. But
What if it's
Yeah.
some
more
people
just
are
a-
saying 3D, all 3 of those games on the same cartridge.
What if this is what Bluepoint was working on?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it
I
could
didn't
be.
think about that.
Ooh,
But if
yes,
that's-
this is good news.
But let me
But, like,
let me
wait,
throw
wait.
this thought out there real quick. If we're considering a remaster of Galaxy 1 and 2, the controls for that
one.
game were
They
really
say just
focused on the waggle. Okay,
I mean,
On
like
the
you,
waggle.
there was a lot of it
I mean,
which you
but
had
you-
to
I mean,
aim
you
at the
have-
screen and fire. Okay, so how are you really going to do that gameplay with the existing control scheme of the Switch?
I mean, it's the same problem with Metroid Prime, right? Like they'll
Yeah.
figure it out with the joystick.
That's their
the
job
second
is-
joystick, right?
yeah.
that's their job as developers. They'll figure it out.
Alright,
I'm pretty sure
saying-
you have a way of shooting things at a screen with two joysticks nowadays, right?
That is you have a good point. You have a very good.
You've been
point.
playing Doom, haven't you? Isn't that a?
I mean,
don't
yeah,
you
but
use both sticks, or you I guess you use keyboard and mouse probably.
it's
He brings
Strangely
up a good
enough,
point.
logistic question.
strangely enough, if that is true, so I recently played Galaxy 1 and 2 for 2 specifically for the first time. Brilliant. I love
Yeah,
that
it's
game.
a good game.
But like of
Mhm.
those 3, and we did Mario 64 not too long ago for
Mhm.
Project M.
3D World
Uh,
is part of the room.
Sunshine is the one game on that list I've never finished.
Ooh, Sunshine's good. I liked it.
And I played quite a bit of it and I like it. I know it's hard as fuck,
hmm
but like that is the one
call
on
it
that, and that you would call it what?
More annoying than hard. But
yeah,
yes.
the game has really bad perspective issues.
But like also things that can be addressed, especially if Blue Point's working on it, because
maybe that's my.
I know,
only
I know
worry.
that's a rumor, obviously. But if Blue Point was working on it, that kind of implies this is more than just a port, right? This kind of implies
Well,
considerable amount of work being
Yeah,
done
maybe.
on the actual.
Blue Point has done stuff that isn't considerable work, but
Also, if this is what Blue Point's been working on, doesn't that kind of bum you out? Because that also probably means the Demon Souls thing isn't real.
but I don't care about Demon Souls. I mean, I think Demon Souls.
I
is
can't
great.
keep up with this man. I thought all he cared about was Demon Souls.
No,
Demon Souls and Nier, right? Like that's all he cares about. Then all of a sudden you talk about
Evidently not.
remasters. It's like fuck it.
He's
Demon
like,
Souls
ah,
is a great
Nick's
video
hyped.
game.
Fuck it. I don't like it anymore.
I have Demon Souls. The copy of Demon Souls that you have is completely functional and an HD system.
That's
No,
true.
I mean, look, there are remasters and remakes that are I think very exciting. You know, there's a lot that I think Blue Point could work on that's really exciting. I just don't think unless it's like a full on remake of Demon Souls, maybe something dramatic. You know,
I mean, like, when I see Blue Point's name attached at this point, especially following up their remake of Shadow of the Colossus,
which I also didn't get really excited about, even though it's one of my favorite games of all
Yeah.
time. I still have not played it.
What? That's a
I
great
haven't-
name.
I've only played up to the third Colossi.
What the fuck, guys? What the?
I have other fucking games to play,
That
Nick.
game was already.
I don't have time to
put on
watch
HD.
It was
Smallville
free on
48
PlayStation Plus
times.
last week.
Dude, I've watched Smallville
was
48 times, and I played Shadow of the Colossus.
He
Come on.
admits
You know
it.
what?
He
Must be
admits
nice.
it.
Actually,
Finally.
I was just using Nolan's number he threw out. I haven't
Sure.
How about
actually
Blue Point remakes Parasite Eve?
Sure, but that's not gonna.
But don't
happen.
you have Parasite Eve?
Yeah, but I have to
I'm
play it
kidding,
on a
I'm kidding.
fucking
Careful,
CRT.
Ed.
I'm kidding.
I have to play it on a CRT.
Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about the Randy Pitchford news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Somebody else lead this because I
So-
don't know
Oh,
all
God.
the deeds.
So, during the development of Borderlands 3,
Mm-hmm.
the Gearbox promised 5 to 6 figure bonuses if the game does well to its developers. Yesterday, and maybe it was the day before.
5 to 6 figure bonuses to the
Okay, so the thing
developers?
about Gearbox,
Well, developers
is-
and probably like directors and all,
but see,
like everyone,
Gearbox
It's also
is
probably
like pay structure. It's part of Gearbox's pay structure,
Yeah,
kind of,
because they do underpay.
underpay. They
Right.
underpay their developers,
Mm.
Right.
and
they- yeah.
depend on these bonuses to kind of even that playing field.
Also,
Right.
is that 5 or 6 figure number like the collective number that will be
No,
divvied up, or is
no,
that
No.
No,
per
that's
employee?
Individuals.
per employee. Yeah. So
Damn.
I mean, a five figure bonus if
Depending
you're
on
if you're a
position.
developer, like even a lower level developer, is fairly normal-ish average, right?
Sure.
Especially if you're getting way underpaid for your position.
Yeah,
A 6-figure bonus for like a director or above, or probably even higher than that, like VP or above would be
Yeah.
also. But Randy Pitcher
Normal,
came out and said, "You are not getting bonuses."
Jesus.
and that game was successful.
It was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
successful.
It's
Like
Borderlands.
they're saying that despite the very high unexpected sales of that
Even
game,
though the game sold better than we thought it was going to, no one's
Right.
getting anything.
Yep.
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 What the fuck?
I-
Word that
I
they're
know.
getting nothing.
this is just like kind of another little coin in the jar of like game developers being like completely abused in the industry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because after that they said if you don't like it you can work somewhere else. It's like, which is just like almost too on the nose for
Yeah.
for,
I
like,
feel like everybody in the room at that point would have been like, okay, well, let's see.
well,
I
so
don't
that's the thing.
it.
Like the development studio that made Borderlands, like the place where they're at doesn't have a lot of other game development places in that area,
Yeah.
and so a lot of those people are working there. Like,
as their only
either they-
option.
yeah, that's
Yeah, they
their
don't
that's
have-
their only option. They moved
Man.
there because they wanted to work in games. They wanted to work at Gearbox or whatever.
Yeah. It's,
And now,
it's,
like,
it's Grapevine. It's basically
this-
them and id Software, and that's it.
Huh.
And
Did
Right.
Randy? Did he reveal it with like a magic trick?
Yeah.
Might as well.
He's like, and
No, he plugged in a
God.
USB into the thing and it said,
I'm gonna pull your
"Here's
bonuses
porn
out.
and no more bonuses."
What's
I'm gonna pull
really
your bonuses
stupid-
out of this hat.
What's really
Oh,
stupid
look,
about
they're
this?
not there.
Yeah.
And he's just like, here they are.
Yeah, what's really stupid
Oh.
about this whole situation is the excuses they're giving for why they're not doing the
Yeah.
bonuses. What they're saying, he's saying it's 2 points. The first was that mid-development, they switched from UE3 to UE4.
Okay.
They did a complete engine shift mid-development. By the way, this game started development in 2016. Why the fuck aren't you starting in UE4 to begin with? What are you doing?
That's technology. Companies get behind on technology.
A
It's
company
not as
like
easy
this
as
should
just
expect better.
Yeah.
Chris, it doesn't matter. It's not as easy as just flipping a switch and
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're on a
So,
new technology.
so
they're-
something to keep in mind that I kind of didn't highlight is that this is like a profit sharing thing. Like they said that
Yeah.
60% of the profits from Borderlands 3 would go to the company
Yeah.
and 40% would go to the employees.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they're just saying, nope, 100% is going to the company,
And,
I guess.
and the other excuse they're saying is that the game's budget was reportedly $95 million. But for DLC and further support, that pushed the budget up to I think $112 million. And they said because of their contractual obligations with outside studios that helped with the development, they get because of the terms of the contracts, they got prioritized payments. So
Right.
they get paid off before anybody else gets anything else.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's nasty. Like, and this is like a
Bullshit.
system that's been in place since Gearbox was created, and it's like kind of unique in the industry. And like in Borderlands 2, people made enough money to buy houses and stuff like that. Like it, the fact that they didn't go through with this and they did it at such a late hour, like
that's gotta
blows.
be fucking.
Also, it was
insane.
announced yesterday, which is like a whole other like.
Yeah.
thing.
Like,
I'm sure
right-
some of the employees were like, "Wait,
Hey,
really?"
we know you guys, or some of you guys, are probably struggling because of all of this craziness in the world. By the way, you're not getting that bonus we promised you.
Oh, okay. So
Have a
this
good
was
night.
this article was written yesterday, and then the meeting was the day before. So it was March 31st, not April 1st.
Okay, so they didn't announce it on April
Yeah.
1st. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Oh, that would have been.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well,
So
I know one good thing that was announced on April 1st
What's that?
from Cellar Games.
oh yeah,
Yes.
new Rogue Legacy.
Yeah, Rogue Legacy 2, and it looks like it has
Yeah.
a new art style.
Which apparently Chris Davis thinks you're so much of a bigger fan than me that he wouldn't tag me.
Well, I mean, how many hours of Rogue Legacy have you played?
Oh shit, we're about to have a war right here.
I'm
I
curious.
mean, that's a 3-digit number for Nolan.
I think I played that on my PS4.
Oh, okay.
Uh huh. Good excuse.
I mean, that's when it came out.
That
No
number is it.
tracking.
That number is inaccessible. I'm sorry.
What's going to be interesting about this sequel is that they've actually been talking about it for a couple years. Like they were having deep discussions with their community back in 2018 about Rogue Legacy 2, whether it's going to be an early access title or if they wanted to go with just a full release. And they were discussing like the pros and cons of just running through everything with the community. So it seems like they're really focused on.
Did they say when this is coming?
No.
No,
They said
No.
it's a work in progress. It's in development. They did say that a shell in the pit, the I don't know what you want to say band, but the people who did the music for the first one are back.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
good.
So I'm excited for that because I love the fucking music and Rogue
If you like the music in A Shell in the Pit, make sure you check out the soundtrack to Full Metal Furies. It's
that is
like,
true. They also did that one too.
like the hidden gem of hidden gems, the video game
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack that no one's listened to.
It's true.
Yeah.
Is there any other news that we're forgetting? I think that's kind of the
There was
the big uns.
There was a game announcement yesterday, but I don't know if it's anything we want to talk about. A game called Mortal Shell.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't watch.
Oh yeah,
didn't
I
hear
saw
about
that
it.
trailer.
Looks pretty
It's a cross-gen title, and
So we're
it
talking-
looks very Dark Soulsian.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched the trailer.
The idea is that you can like take over bodies. That's what it seemed like to me.
You should
Yeah,
watch the trailer.
Yeah,
It looks cool.
if you watch the trailer,
Yeah, I saw it.
It
It
kinda-
popped up on my feed today. I just didn't get a chance to watch it. So I'll check that out. Mortal Shells.
yeah,
Mortal
Mortal Shell.
Shell.
Yeah.
I will check that out. All right. Well, if that's unless anybody has anything else, we can move right along to answering some questions. Nolan.
Let's do it.
Nolan.
Yeah, I'm ready.
From our supporters on Patreon and Twitch.
Mhm. All right. So first question this week we're gonna get to is from it's an older one, like Nick had mentioned last week and the week before that. We don't always answer every single question every week. We kind of stockpile some.
We're still playing catch up.
Exactly. So first question this week is going to come from a patron named Ash. I've started playing Days Gone upon Nick's
Oh!
recommendation. I'm a bit bothered by the way Deacon talks to himself. His dialogue when passing a Ripper stronghold or when wiping one out is so maniac it really takes me out of the experience. I seriously initially reacted with Revolution, but now it's
I
just
think you
fun.
meant revulsion.
Revulsion.
Thank you, Revulsion. Hold on. I'm like reading off to the side. Let me put my thing in front of me. Also, he sometimes speaks way too loudly when he's right next to someone on his motorcycle. It's like they decided to turn down the sound effects of the bikes at the last minute before release because the dude is screaming at his friends from 2 feet away like a madman. My question is, are there any barks or sound effects? Any barks or sound effects in the game that are there? Okay, so
I think
this
he's
is
asking you. I think he's
Hold
specifically
on.
asking.
I have to remove a chunk of it. Hold on. Are there any barks lines or sound effects that have negatively affected your gameplay experience. So essentially, just kind of like audio that's kind of either just out of place or whatever. That
I mean, the
that-
famous
that-
one is Titus's laugh, right?
Oh,
yeah, that was a pretty bad one.
yeah. But that was more of just a questionable voice acting, I think.
Yeah.
Than anything else.
I was playing that Trials of Mana demo.
Yeah.
Trials of Mana demo. I posted a little clip, but one of the characters, like the mage lady, every time she jumps, it's a different sound. And one of there's like 3 sounds, and one of the jumps is like this super high pitched squeak. It doesn't make any sense. It immediately made me not want to play her because it doesn't make any sense. Just a really high pitched squeak.
Interesting.
Very strange. Very strange. Oh, also Xenoblade, the first one. Oh man, I don't know. It was those very British or European voices,
Yeah.
and some of the things that they said. I think even when you jump and stuff, was just
Well, Ryan was the infamous
It's
one,
Ryan-
right? Like
oh,
it's
God.
Ryan time. Like every single time you would go into battle.
alley oop. Oh, would he say alley oop when he jumped?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh god.
I was playing Doom Eternal the other day, and there's one enemy type in that game. I don't remember what it's called. Chris Davis can probably tell me. The snake thingies. They're like half people, half snake.
You would ask
I
me
don't
the
know.
one I don't remember.
But they sound like like the rattle of a
Damn it.
rattlesnake. And as long as they're on the field, unless
Are they called humanimals?
no, they're not.
I think they're called the Whiplash.
That's a dumb name.
Dude, humanimals.
I mean, they use a whip to attack you.
I know, but like we're talking about the name of a demon. It should be like.
This is Doom. What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, like you got things that sound cool, like prowlers and mancubus and stuff. And the
Humanimal.
whiplash. That sounds dumb.
The pain
Anyways,
elemental.
I'm dumb. I don't know. The point is that snake thing makes like a snake rattle, like rattlesnake noise for the entire time it's on the field. And it moves around super fast and you're getting bombarded with enemies. So like it's not always easy to like focus on one particular enemy. So a lot of times they're like the last ones I end up eliminating on a field because I'm waiting to like get rid of all the like smaller fodder. And like that rattling noise is infuriating.
I'll be honest. I never took notice of that at all.
Well, congratulations.
Like I don't know where you're coming from with this.
It drove me to distraction yesterday.
Chris Davis, is Doom Eternal the most perfect game ever?
No, but it's getting up there.
Don't.
Also,
take
fuck
me
you,
back.
Brad.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on from this question.
Also, real quick to address, he mentioned the Days Gone stuff. I did specifically talk about some of the audio at the first time I ever talked about this game on the podcast. That is stuff I noticed that they eventually fixed a lot in patches because it was a little uneven, and he did talk a lot. And they eventually patched it so he doesn't quite comment on stuff nearly as often. So it seemed a lot more bearable post-release. I don't know when the last time he played it was. Like I said, we're a little backlogged. But last time I played it, they had smoothed a lot of that stuff out. And it didn't bother me at all. So.
I can't directly think of any game stuff. I'm sure there is some. I'm just not having trouble thinking of it off the top of my head. I will call out, though, that one of my biggest gripes when it comes to movies is audio mixing of vocals versus background noise.
Yeah.
Super fucking frustrating. I think The Witcher had that problem where the audio of people talking was way too low compared to sound effects.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on. Next question from Zero Skies, another patron. What is your best time of day? Does the time differ between a work day and a free day?
Best time of like the hour of the day?
Whatever you want to say.
Evening to like.
Is it your first cup of coffee in the morning? What is your like?
My first cup of coffee is pretty good, but like,
I'm
I mean, it's gonna differ on a work day. Like my favorite time is basically from like 8:30 a.m. until about 9:30 or 10:30. That's when I'm drinking coffee pretty consistently. That's what like I look forward to, and then I run out of coffee, and then I'm like, oh, now it's just the day.
I have this problem where I do my best like coding work between the hours of like 10 and 1
At night?
10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Yeah.
Oh,
Which like
that explains so much because there's so
Which-
many times like I ping you about stuff on the website.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way he's up, and it's like, sure enough, he's responds very quickly.
yeah,
gets to
like and so I don't actually like do any like work during that time if I can help it, but like occasionally I'll just have this kink in my brain that I want to like okay, I can go do this real quick and I'll like knock something out.
It'll
was,
only
like-
take a second, 30
Yeah,
minutes. later.
there was like a period of back in like late January where we had some like big security issue that we were dealing with, and I was on this like Tiger team to code up a new feature to kind of help with the security issues, and I was doing all my work between 10 and 1 a.m. like every single day, just like over the weekend and stuff like that, because it was just perfect for me.
For me,
It might have something to do with Katie being asleep at that time.
speaking of asleep, right now my favorite time of the day is when Henry's napping. Like on the weekends when he's napping, and me and my wife can just lay on the couch and not do anything.
So what
Or
you're
like
saying
in
is you don't like to be around your child. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Chris Davis.
Nailed it.
We're around him too much, so yeah, that small break is wonderful.
Hey, I've consistently heard the when the quarantine thing started, everyone was like, "Oh, get to work from home, it's great," and most parents are like, "Yeah, great,
Yeah.
this is gonna be great."
Well, if Henry was still going to school, it'd be nice, I guess. But
I hope you're looking
all
forward
right.
to a full summer there, Nick.
Best time of day, I don't know.
I can't think of anything off the top of my
Early
head. Yeah.
evening, like 5 to like 8 o'clock, where I'm not tired or sleepy yet, and I'm not having to work or anything too, and I'm just kind of like in my my lounging clothes and just have some good solid game time. Like
You would have lounging clothes.
what happens after 8 o'clock?
I start to get sleepy.
The lounging clothes come off.
Yeah, I take off my pants and I start to get sleepy.
That's when you get sleepy.
Dude,
all right, let's
I've
move
started getting tired around pretty consistently around 10 o'clock,
on.
and I try to push through and make it till midnight every night, because otherwise my sleep schedule gets all fucked up. But it's touch and go there for a while.
All right, let's move on. Next question from the Drunken Merchant.
How dare you?
Next, yeah. I recently beat the first Valkyria Chronicles game, and
Ooh.
wow, is that game filled with stock sound effects? You guys
I did
have
not
a
see that coming.
favorite reoccurring sound effect in games? If not, what is your favorite game with stock sound effects, either out of love or hilarity?
Stocks? Are you talking about like something you can imagine like getting on like a stock asset
Yeah,
website?
just like a generic kind of like sound effect, like Wilhelm scream kind of like.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. I feel like especially in like, I don't know, most AAA games these days, they're pretty good at making everything sound pretty authentic.
Mhm.
I don't honestly have an answer for this.
I don't know.
think.
There
I think
is some charm in having those stock sound effects instead of companies re-recording the same fucking audio game after game after game.
Does it count? Yeah, like does it count if like they establish it in the first game and it becomes like just like something that people associate with it? Like I think the like the Resident Evil sound where when you like open a menu or something is kind of iconic at this point. Or like the codec sound in Metal Gear Solid obviously is like every person in the world's fucking text tone.
Mhm.
So I was playing Thronebreaker recently, though, that Witcher like story mode for Gwent.
Brad's familiar
And-
with it.
Yeah, you make
Don't
it.
call it a story mode for Gwent. That's so insulting.
All right. It was great. It was on my top 10 that year that it came out. So calm down. But like the sound effect it would make when you open the map, it would like
Yeah.
make the sound effect, and then it would sit there loading for a little bit, and then eventually the map would unfold. And it's a game where like you kind of open the map a lot while you're like looking around and looking around for different things on the map and stuff like that. And like, just the fact that it took so long to load every single time was so frustrating.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I think that's all I got for this question.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know there
I
definitely
don't-
are some. It's just a tough one.
I'm playing Neo 2 right now, and I like a lot of the sounds in that game. Little
Yeah.
sound effecty sounds, like when you kill an enemy and you absorb some souls and all that sort of stuff is really
Well,
cool.
speaking
I
of
will say-
Neo,
Sorry, I will say that Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal both have pretty excellent sound design. That's one thing I will definitely give it.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
everything sounds super crunchy and just I don't know. Like everything's got like oomph to it, I guess.
Every weapon
Well-
sounds great. The sound design of the environments is great. Like
The ripping and tearing sounds excellent.
absolutely that delightful like orange
Okay,
squishing
we're getting
sound
too
that they're
far from
trying
the
to
answer
do.
to this question.
All right, next question.
well, now that my transition is ruined,
You
next
re-ruined it, I
question
apologize.
From Frantic Ficus, who would win in a death battle, William from Neo or Wolf from Sekiro?
Sekiro, dude.
Yeah, I would say Wolf from Sekiro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got the distinct impression that like that character from the original Neo, what's his name?
William.
William.
It was like John. I was like,
That dude
Uh,
just sucks. That's the reason I give it to him. But honestly, you have access to way more spells and abilities and weapons in Neo. So I don't know. Maybe he'd put up a fight.
but like
yeah, but Wolf can respawn twice.
I don't think it's
True.
about that. I think it's also the fact that he's a grappling hook arm.
Yeah, that also that didn't help me that much in the
Yeah.
game. So
Yeah.
Ed, did you hear?
I did
I-
hear.
I
They
finished
both
it.
die really quickly. That's how that fight would go.
I'm so proud of you, Nick.
Thank you. I really. I'll never play that game again. But I'm glad I finished it.
They would trade blows and die super quick.
Ooh.
I agree.
All right, I think we have time for one more question from patrons. Are there? You said there are some from supporters in Twitch.
I don't. I think there. Yeah, there were two actually. I remember seeing
Okay.
at least two in the.
Well,
in
we'll do one
Discord.
more patron question before we do grab those ones, and this one's a interesting question from Breaking Brad.
Breaking Brad.
Hey guys, I was wondering, when the 4Player crew does eventually decide to end podcasting, would you go with a big final super podcast with lots of
No.
emotions, or do you think
No.
it's something that will just do a Sopranos and cut to black? Cheers, guys.
It's
Stay
probably
safe.
gonna be. It's probably gonna be a Sopranos
Are you
situation.
saying someone would shoot us in the head?
Someone is going to die.
I mean, that's the only way this ends.
Yeah. That's the
I-
only
I
way
feel
you
like-
leave this podcast.
I feel like it will probably. I mean, I've said this before, and it's just because I think it's just become something I enjoy so much. One way, like if this show ever decides to call it quits, I'm probably still gonna probably find some way of doing a podcast in some form
Yeah.
or fashion.
Yeah, it's so lucrative.
Mhm.
I say
No, it's just
the podcast is going to end when our Game of the Year videos come out in December
Yeah.
after the year is over. And we're
Yeah.
getting closer and closer every single year.
Yeah,
Like-
when our Game of the Year videos are a year late, that's when it's all over. I don't know. I feel like it'll probably be a pretty understated thing when we decide to throw in the towel, which hopefully later rather than
I
sooner.
wouldn't use
but-
the phrase "throw in the towel." That sounds like we're quitting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's asking about. I
I-
mean,
I
the only way
would-
this
I
ends
would-
is if
I-
we say
I
we're
would-
quitting.
I would say when we move on to different things.
Yeah. It'll probably be fairly low key, I would imagine. But like I said, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody here. I'm probably gonna move on to trying to find some way to keep doing this in some form because I just like the act of talking about video games with my friends. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, let's get to some questions from our supporters. on
Notice how
Twitch.
nobody jumped. I'm sorry. Just keep going. Next
Um,
question.
Yeah, you have
Uh,
fun with that, Nick. Nick the Dick.
Okay, that's
How
cool.
rude.
From
I'm not going to ask you to
Thorax.
be on my podcast, Brad.
Fucking Nick and Mortiford podcast.
Thorax asks, "Is the coronavirus starting to make you doubt our capitalist system?"
Yes.
I only
Oh.
ask this because there are certain extremists suggesting sacrificing our elders to save our economy. I mean, first of all, those people are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
But the
they
stock
are.
market, Nolan.
I know.
Stock market.
I
You
had this
gotta do it for the
conversation.
stock market.
I had this conversation the other day with Robin because we went on a walk. We were just talking about shit. I was like, the fucking, like the craziest thing about that. Like we were talking about an illness that kills people that is affecting people all over the world, and the fact that a construct that we created is keeping us from taking care. Like I know it's more complicated than that. Obviously, like it's way.
I mean,
deeper
yes
than
and
that.
no. I
But
mean,
like
it,
we invented the economy. We are the like the financial system. Everything that we're talking about is like
the fact that the system can collapse so easily
yeah.
is a problem. And the
They don't
solution is
call it a house
not
of cards for nothing, right?
The fact that we can't just hit pause on like everything that isn't essential until we get this under control.
the
insane to me.
the fact that many people are saying that the old people should sacrifice themselves.
How old is Tom Nook? That's what I want to know.
Those people are the people that should be they should have to go to work in a public place without a mask
Yes.
and then for 3 weeks in a hospital, and then they can tell old people that they need to go work.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking ridiculous.
Also, I saw, and there are some governors, I guess, that are declaring fucking religious gatherings as essential business,
That's
and
fucking
that
stupid.
is fucking insane. And the fact that the people who are like, "Oh, great, let's go to church." What the fuck, people? What the fuck?
Did you hear about the governor of Georgia today?
No.
That he said
yeah.
they just learned in the last 24 hours that the COVID-19 can be spread even if you aren't showing signs of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we didn't know that. What the fuck are you talking about? Anything can be spread. You don't have to be like, there are so many diseases and viruses that you don't have to be showing signs of, and you can still.
I mean,
have it.
not even that. Just like the fact that it's a very well-known fact of this disease that it can do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a tough time, and I think it really is. I think we should be paying a lot of attention to what people are doing in this time, and the people who are being human and showing kindness and trying to treat their employees well should be looked upon as, hey, I want to give my business to that company. And then places where they're like, I heard a story about a hospital, one of their doctors was wearing his mask outside the operating room, and they were like, you need to take that off because you're scaring patients. And he was like, no, because I want to live. And I'm an old person. I'm an old person who has he has some lung issues. I can't remember what, but he's more susceptible to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they fired him. And it's complete bullshit. And like when reached out and they were like, oh yeah, we fired him because he was for insubordination. And then like a couple weeks later, he was rehired. And the official statement is he was let go because they had less elective surgery going on. But it's like it's shit like that it's like you got
the Amazon worker who was fired for protesting the conditions. Like I saw something that Mark Cuban said, like him or hate him, that he said that brands, their response to COVID and the way they treat their employees is going to define their brand for the next like 20 to 50 years, right?
I mean, this like we're still fairly early in this whole thing, but like when this is quote unquote over, like the landscape, the world's landscape is going to be drastically changed. The way we view everyone and everything we interact with is going to be
hell. I'm feeling that way right now. I'm watching like TV shows and I'm seeing people at huge social gatherings and I'm like, they're touching like right now.
Dude, we were watching the Great British Baking Show because they're still watching it. And at some point, they were like sharing food and they were like making a cake and they were finalizing it and they blew on it. And I was like, don't blow on it. No. And I'm like, oh wait, this is filmed like 2 years ago. This is like,
I was watching an episode of Maisel, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon, and this person's it's a film shot of this person walking down a New York street and like being completely surrounded by people and walking up like, oh my god, they're so close together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, weird. Like when the day finally comes where they're like, the tides have turned, it's okay to go out in public again, it's okay to like be around other people, it's gonna be weird watching people try to get comfortable again.
It's gonna be the craziest party ever.
It's gonna be 50-50.
Like, the last example of something like that happening was like when we killed Osama bin Laden. Like I was in college and everyone went out to downtown and was just like partying in the streets. Like it's gonna be crazy.
So the only problem with that in this scenario is there's not gonna be a day.
Yeah, I know.
It's not gonna be hey, today's the day. It's gonna be
no V-Day.
Hey, maybe starting today, start kind of getting back to work, but be careful. Wash your hands. Don't make
Right.
out with strangers. When you sneeze, do it in
There's-
your sleeve, not into the public drinking water. So, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be such a slow and gradual transition that I think to an extent, yes, the way we interact with people in the world will be changed for a long time. Like I'm
No
the way I
fapping.
wash my hand, the way I wash my hands now is completely different than
Yeah.
how I used to, and I'm
Yeah.
probably going to continue doing that for a while. And it's just like one of those things where I think it's just going to be a weird transition into maybe a healthier society. Like, I
Right.
don't know, like, or maybe people will be less healthy because they are getting rid of germs more rapidly. And so then their body's immune systems aren't as good. I don't know. Like, we'll see, but it's
gonna
not
be
going to be
crazy.
like today's the day everything's back to normal. Like
Maybe the fight to keep minimum wage down won't be so difficult.
shit like
Yeah.
that, I hope will make it a big
Jesus
difference. I hope,
Christ.
like coming out of this,
Since some of the most important people right now are getting paid jack shit.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's
I
that's
mean,
a-
e- or
paid.
people that were making minimum wage before are getting laid off. They can't
Mhm.
go to the doctor. They can't afford to go to the doctor. I saw something recently that like an uninsured doctor visit requires you to work for 43 hours at minimum wage
Jesus Christ.
That's
in order for you to be able to pay for a single visit.
that's ridiculous.
Like, yeah. So like, I mean, I think the last thing that I will say on this topic is vote, especially in November.
Yeah, that's a good- yeah,
that was a very
Yeah.
very succinct way of putting it without being too specific. I second that wholeheartedly.
All right.
You know
let's
what?
Get,
Real quick, I
What's up?
knew because you're seeing all people making all kinds of bad decisions right now in terms of like not listening or not paying attention to what they're doing and how they're spreading this thing. And I remember back very early before the shit really hit the fan. It was back when a lot of those cruise ships were coming back, and they were finally letting people off the ships. And I think it was Fox News had someone who came off the cruise on the show, like in the studio, physically in the studio, who had the illness, and he was holding his like 4-year-old daughter on his lap while they were doing the interview, and she had a little sippy cup, and she was sipping water, and in the middle of the interview, he like like coughed and then reached down and picked up her cup out of her hand, drank it, and then gave it back to his daughter, and I was like, this.
I never saw
This is
that, but I
bad.
heard about that.
Oh my
I was-
god! I was like, we're all fucked.
I was watching Last Week Tonight. I'm a fan of that
Yeah.
show. But the
These
most
past 2 weeks has been crazy.
Yeah. The most recent episode, they were showing a bunch of newscasters and how they're like, oh, social distancing. But there's this one scene where they're like doing like a conference about, all of this shit.
Oh yeah.
And like a guy walks up and there's like a sign, there's like a translator. She's doing ASL. And like he's like, hey, we should be 6 feet apart, because she was like really close to the podium and she kind of just signed it. And he was like, no, we should be 6 feet apart. And he's like telling her to like move away. Like, and she's still standing. It's this awkward thing that kind of went on for a good.
Well, she
30,
has to
40
be in
seconds.
frame of the camera.
But yeah,
right?
she has to be in frame so she can sign. And it's like, the cameraman fucking pull out a little bit. So that,
Yeah.
yes, they should be 6 feet apart. They shouldn't be standing right next to each other. Anyway,
there was the press conference where I forgot who it was. It was someone one of the agencies that was when they were first coming out and the government was starting to take like more of a role in like talking, like making people aware of how they should be social distancing and stuff and like not touching their face. And I forgot her name. She was up there and she was at a podium and she was talking about the importance of social distancing, 6 feet apart, trying very hard not to touch your face. And she's reading from like a notepad or right.
Mhm.
And then she's like reading her speech, and then she just licks her licks her
Yeah.
thumb and like turns the page. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Perfect.
Why? Sorry, we can move on.
All right. Final question from a supporter on Twitch from I don't know who this is. Shifty.
Yeah.
What's a game you didn't expect to enjoy but ended up liking?
Oh.
I'm pretty sure we've gotten this one before.
Oh
but-
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very. We talk. I mean, that's kind of what we do a lot here: is talk about games that we didn't think we were going to enjoy and did.
Doom? Well, no. Yeah, Doom.
Like 2016 Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people's expectations of that were pretty tempered. I mean, Days Gone. Anybody? Why are you
no,
laughing?
that's not a good game.
We're laughing at the
No,
at the
we're not
tempered
laughing
thing.
at Days Gone. I mean, there's a lot of those. Jeez, I didn't
Yeah.
expect to like Bloodstained. I really didn't.
Frostpunk was one I didn't think I
Oh,
was
yeah.
gonna like, and I ended
That's a
up
good one.
fucking loving that game.
The Witness is not a game I expected to latch onto as heavily as that was my game
Oh
of
no,
the
I
year
knew
that
I would
year.
love that game.
I was like hoping to like it, but like I didn't think it was gonna be.
Ooh,
I didn't think it
the
was gonna be like
Talos
game of the
principle,
year.
though. The Talos principle, though, I didn't expect that was gonna be as crazy of a game. as
That
it was.
struck me as a game that was gonna be like 8 hours long, and it's actually like fucking 30, 40
Yeah, that's a
hours.
long game.
It's a long ass game.
47 hours still on Steam. That includes
Wow.
Road to Gehenna.
Oh my god, that game is bananas. I never finished it, but I played like 30, 40 hours of it. There's so many. I mean, like our list half the year are comprised of games that we didn't have
Yeah.
high expectations for that we ended up
Surprises,
loving.
yeah.
I would say go back to this person specifically if you haven't yet. They may be new. I'm not sure. Go back and watch like all of our top 10 videos. Like half of the games on those lists are just games that we were like, maybe this one, and it turned out awesome.
Carlos has a great
Uh,
answer there.
I said Days Gone.
Yeah, we've already. Chris,
Days Gone is
fucking been.
that was definitely
right,
Days Gone.
That's all the questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. Like Nick had mentioned, every week we post a thread on patreon.com/4Player. And there is a supporter channel in our Discord for Twitch supporters where you can ask us any question you would like.
That is very true. That is very true. I had something I was going to add to the end of that, and I completely lost it. I will say this since, I've tweeted about this. We talk about Days Gone a lot because Brad won't let me ever forget about it. That game's on sale right now, and if you're sad about The Last of Us 2, play that. It's pretty good. It's pretty fucking good.
It's been $20 for like months. Like
No, it's
that
gone up and
sale-
down.
That sale has been
It
at
keeps coming
20.
back.
Yeah.
For sure. Wasn't there like a bunch of stuff? They just did like a special sale on PlayStation Store, I guess. I didn't have a chance to look at it very deeply though. All right, let's wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. Hype, sweat, thank you, fuck you, any combination thereof. Brad, you always start us off.
Well, I'm a nervous wreck, so I have
Great.
all sweats. Video game sweats. I'm nervous about other things as well. My first sweat is going to be for Final Fantasy VII getting delayed at GameFly. I'm not really in a game buying mode right now, so I might actually just have to wait a while to play that
Brad,
game.
you've already played that game.
Okay, that's not the same thing. My other sweat is for Darkest Dungeon 2. They just announced, people thought it was an April Fool's joke, or I guess it was. It's one of those April Fool's jokes that actually became a real thing. But there's a PvP mode coming to Darkest Dungeon. Like a real actual player versus player thing. And my sweat is for Darkest Dungeon 2 because I want that game sooner rather than later, and they're still doing bullshit like this. Come on. I want the next game. My next sweat is for Disaster Report 4. The review embargo lifted for that game. The reviews are not great, which I knew they weren't going to be great, but I saw one review from a dude who like loved the old ones. He's like, this fucking game is nothing like the old ones or whatever. I don't know. But that might turn into a hype because I might have a connection hooking me up with a copy of that game, which is good because I'm in this weird place with GameFly. There's too many games out, right? Coming out, at least I thought. And my final sweat is for Resident Evil 3 remake, which I am going to be getting from GameFly, which is great. But, I've heard some not so great things. People who really loved 2 last year, which was pretty unanimous. I've heard a lot of people really down on this game. Not this that it's short, but it's disappointing in other ways. I finally played through that demo, and the demo was fine. It was fun, but I realized playing it that like Nemesis might just kind of be annoying at some points. Like he knocked me down a lot, and he can grab you from afar with his tentacles, and it wasn't like the same vibe as I got with Mr. X playing Resident Evil 2. It was just like fucking go away, dude. But I don't know. We'll see.
We shall. All right. Nolan,
Mhm.
you next.
Sure.
Go for it.
Me?
Yes.
Go now?
Yes.
Now.
Correct.
My
Nolan.
4-player minute.
I'm talking to you, Nolan.
No. Okay, good. Okay, my 4-player minute starts now.
Do with the horse mask on.
No, I got all fuck yous this week. My first fuck you is gonna go to Ring Fit. Can't fucking find it anywhere. It's fucking ridiculous. I just want to get one so I can do some Ring Fit when I'm home quarantined, but I can't fucking do it because it doesn't exist for less than like $300 and it's ridiculous. My second fuck you is gonna go to Animal Crossing trees. Fuck you, grow bitches. I need some fucking fruit. I don't
Hey,
understand what's going on.
Hey Nolan,
What?
maybe when you finish Half-Life, we could do like a swap.
You think Malia would be okay
well,
with that?
she's getting kind of fucking sick of that game, to be honest. But I'll
Okay.
talk to her about that.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Fucking Animal Crossing trees, grow bitches. It's ridiculous. It's dumb. My third fuck you is going to go to Zipper T Bunny. My island is now fucking covered in eggs everywhere. It's eggs out of every orifice. It's ridiculous. I'm ready for the eggs to be over. And my fourth fuck you is actually going to go to my PC. I've been having a lot of issues with it. I mean, everything kind of stemmed from when I first booted up Half-Life Alyx. I've had issues with my Oculus headset. I've had issues with drivers. I've had issues with even fucking today. One of my computers, like the DisplayPort cable wouldn't work, and I ended up switching to an HDMI, and I just had nothing but fucking issues lately.
Let me ask you, as someone who's never fucked around with PC VR,
Mhm.
it sounds like from all of you guys,
I
it's
would
like
say
a-
I would
it's a
say day
fucking
one,
thing.
I didn't really have that many issues. It's things that have occurred over time. Day
Mhm.
one, when I plugged in my Oculus, I downloaded the Oculus software, I updated everything, and I just started playing. It worked fine. Like Nick had mentioned, if you're playing an Oculus Store game, it definitely works pretty flawlessly. Steam VR plus Oculus sometimes has issues.
For what it's worth, my first, however, I mean, I honestly haven't really had the only continuous problem I had with my PC VR, and I haven't been able to find anybody reporting this problem. Every single time I want to use it, every single time I have to reseat the cable, or it won't work. It won't. It won't.
I've also had issues that my Oculus keeps saying that the audio for my headset isn't working, but it is. But because of that, it's like doing some weird stuff where I can't have output coming from like a second device, so Bernadette can hear it too. I don't know. I've tried deleting everything, reinstalling it, or updating drivers, and it keeps just saying like, "Oh, your headset audio doesn't work," and I'm like literally listening to audio from the headset.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
weird.
Whatever.
I mean, nothing so far. It's been fairly smooth so far. I haven't really had many issues. It sounds like a lot of the issues no one's having are, I don't know if they're necessarily related to the Oculus, but they're all,
I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird.
That's it.
Oh, how about Ed?
Yeah. All right. So my hype is for the Xenoblade Chronicles Switch port. Because it is, is more than just a port, and you can also, there's like an extra story thing that goes at the end that you can play from the start without playing the whole story through again, which is cool. There's an extra section that they added to it that was removed in the original game, which seems cool. And they've drastically, in my opinion, improved the art style. It was kind of like a muted, realistic look before they were trying to go for, and on the Wii it looked terrible. They kind of made it a little more stylized, and I think the new character models look really nice. So I'm actually kind of really excited to mess around with that game again.
His Shulk's outfit still looks pretty awful, though.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's the main character in a JRPG. What did you expect?
Oh.
All right, and my sweat is for, I have all this time nowadays. I kind of have been thinking about maybe opening up an MMO of some kind.
You fool!
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I
do
don't.
it, the virus wins.
I don't think I want to go back to WoW, but maybe. But Final Fantasy 14 has also been on my shoulder a little bit.
At the very least, if you boot up Final Fantasy 14, there are a lot of people in our very own community
Yeah.
that would love to have you.
If you go to our Discord, I bet our Final Fantasy 14 Discord channel is more active than chat right now.
So just a little bit of sweat that I'm thinking about, as well as like the rest of the backlog. Like I started Spider-Man again. Like I started playing it again because I never finished that. I've got a War that I would like to play because I started that and never finished that. So just a couple of cool games that I could pick up during this time.
Nice.
My fuck you goes to Randy Pitchford
For obvious reasons.
For him and his behavior about like all this thing and the rest of management at Gearbox, but also any other like video game management that they're just being assholes to their developers. Like, start treating people like fucking human beings. It's ridiculous. Like, Jesus Christ.
Treat your developers well. Treat all of your employees well.
I understand like the whole they don't want to pay people the bonuses because like enough bonuses to buy another house or whatever, but like, give them a bonus. Like, come on, people. Crazy. Especially because they underpay them so much. And my thank you, I think, goes without saying, but all the nurses and doctors and delivery drivers and other essential employees that are like basically keeping everything rolling during this time.
I mean, the heroes of this world right now?
The heroes of this world. I mean, I know I have a friend who's a social worker, and he is most likely got exposed last week. I have a friend who's a nurse she's pretty sure she got exposed. So like all those people, man.
Yep.
I am very lucky that I work at a job that allows me to stay employed for one, and two, I can just work from home the whole day throughout the day. So
yeah.
I'm very thankful for that and appreciated for everyone else doing the Lord's work, literally.
Yeah.
That's it.
Bananas. Chris Davis?
Okay. My first hype this week is for Resident Evil 3. I don't know what else I can say about that other than Resident Evil 3 is my favorite of that entire series, and as much as I had hoped, I didn't ever expect them to actually remake this fucking game, and now they have, and it's unlocking in 15 minutes. We'll be able to play it.
You lied to me. You told me it was.
I was going by what Reset Arrow was saying, man. Okay, so I'm sorry.
This motherfucker.
But yeah,
he gets a Doom game. He gets a Half-Life game.
This is the year of Chris Davis.
It's getting remade all within like a couple weeks. What next? New Splinter Cell comes out next week.
Oh, don't push that button. That's a very sad button.
That was a low blow, Brad.
Yeah. Dude, I cannot wait until tomorrow night when I can actually play it. My second hype this week is for Sea of Stars. I
forgot about that.
It got funded. It still got 15 days to go on its Kickstarter, but they've already.
This is the spiritual successor to The Messenger.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's an RPG.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a top-down RPG.
No, that looks really cool. Really, really cool.
Yeah,
it doesn't even. Is it? It's not developed by the people who developed The Messenger.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's Sabotage.
It is. It's actually set in the Messenger universe. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, it is a prequel.
It's not even like. Doesn't even resemble The Messenger like in the least.
That's fine.
I don't think that really matters.
That's fine.
No, that's a good thing. I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
But the idea that it's set in the Messenger universe is just like.
Yeah.
No, they're just being silly.
That's
right?
like Half-Life and Portal. I mean, it's.
But yeah,
that's not a selling point of the game. It's just
Yeah, they've already unlocked a bunch of stretch goals. A new game plus, an alternate ending, in-game cinematics. Like, I'm going to back this project. I don't know. I probably could back it tonight. I guess you don't pay until the thing's done. So
that is correct.
Fuck it. Yeah, I'll do it after the stream.
Do it.
Yeah.
It does look cool.
My first fuck you this week, like Ed, is to Gearbox Randy Pitcher. Fuck you, Randy. Like, what in the flying fuck is wrong with you and your board?
I'm gonna be honest. How does that guy still even like show his face in public? I feel like every time
he thinks he oozes charm out of every pore. Like, he thinks he can go before a fucking crowd and do a magic trick and everybody will explode into applause.
No, but here's the thing. He does, and they do. It's
because people love Borderlands.
Because people
I
like
know.
Borderlands, and they
But
think
people
that
should-
if they just applause him,
Cosplayers and stuff.
if they
But people
praise
should be able to
him, then he'll
separate-
fucking announce the game.
But people
No.
should be able to separate the
No,
thing
no.
they love from the fucking douchebag who made it.
They don't care. They just love Borderlands.
Yeah, exactly. So fuck you, Randy. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, I mean, look. Robin, she's probably asleep. But before that, she was probably playing Borderlands, right?
No, she was not.
Careful.
Okay. Is she upset about Randy
She doesn't.
Pitchford?
I mean, she doesn't even know who Randy. I could say, "What do you think of Randy Pitchford?" and she would have no idea who I'm talking about.
This is my point.
And
It's
But
just not-
she's also not one of the thousands of people who show up to like PAX and fill an entire room, and he walks out on stage, and then they start losing their minds.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Sure, but all I'm saying is people. I mean, it's not even a thing to most of the Borderlands audience.
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my other fuck you this week, it goes to Activision. So we didn't cover this in the news, but after years of rumors, they surprise released a remastered campaign of Modern Warfare 2. And
did.
they released it only for the PlayStation 4. It's delayed for 30 days on Xbox and PC, but specifically, it's delayed on their own fucking Battle.net platform.
Mhm.
They got such a deal from Sony for 30-day exclusivity that they delayed even putting it on their own fucking platform.
That's pretty impressive.
That is some just...
Called business.
We all know that
that's-
Activision is just... They're all about the cash. We know that. That's why that company has only like Blizzard as its own thing, or not even really as its own thing anymore at this
Oh,
point.
not anymore.
And then just the Call of Duty machine. That's all they are now. But this is
That
just
reminds
like
me.
a surprising amount of scummy, in my opinion. Just
There was one news topic we forgot, and you reminded me of it. They
Yeah.
canceled QuakeCon, and Bethesda confirmed that they're not
Right.
doing an E3, a digital E3 event this year.
well, they probably
Even
didn't have
though-
that much to show.
I mean, they were going to do a press conference. They
Yeah.
just decided they're not going to be doing a digital version of it. Most publishers, most companies are saying they're going to do some kind of digital event in place of their E3 presser. Bethesda said no.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, they said, it has to do with logistics and just they're like scrambling to deal with everything going on right now, which I understand. Like most companies are. Maybe they're just feeling it more than others. I don't know. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interject, but you reminded me of that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So
Continue.
just fuck you, Activision. But how can you become such a fucking scummy fucking publisher? Like,
Money, Chris Davis. Money.
I
Money is
understand
the
how they've
answer.
survived as a company. I understand that. But like,
Yeah, Call of Duty.
15 years ago, they were publishing tons of original IPs and letting developers make pretty much whatever they wanted. And
Then they got Call of Duty.
then that's all they are now. That's all they fucking are. It's fuck you, Activision.
There's a
what you
reason
become.
there is a reason I've been to E3 however many times now, and I've never stepped foot in the Activision booth once.
Yeah.
Once.
Because they've got nothing else to show.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I do want to give I take that back. The nice lady at the desk in the private Activision room did hook me up with an appointment to see Sekiro at E3 once, and that was a miracle.
I
That was
feel
a
like
miracle.
those publisher deals are miracles in and of themselves. That
lady,
they actually
I
fucking
salute you.
happen.
Sorry, did you have anything else in your 4-player minute? Or
No,
was it my
that's it.
turn?
I'm done.
You sure you don't want to give a fuck you to Nintendo just for funsies?
I mean, I can throw a fuck you to Nintendo.
My fuck you of the week goes to Brad. I'm just kidding. My hype this week goes to, like Chris Davis, Resident Evil 3. Very excited. My expectations for this game are maybe a little bit less than Chris. Resident Evil 3 has never really been my favorite in the series, but it's blood related to Resident Evil 2, which is among my favorite, and Resident Evil 2 remake was incredible. This is, to me, has always, since they announced this remake, it's always felt like kind of the stopgap game to kind of like tide people over until Resident Evil 8 comes out, which will probably be sometime next year or the year after that. It's just kind of a nice, like, oh yes, I do want this, thank you, very excited to play it. And let's see, my sweats, and I'm going to be very vague about this, but so like I said, I finished Half-Life Alyx last night, and my sweat is for Valve.
Mhm.
Sweat?
My sweat is for Valve because
Valve sucks. Valve
no,
sucks.
no,
now.
no, no, no. They've proven with Half-Life Alyx that they still got it. Anyone who is wondering if like they were even capable of making a game this good, Half-Life Alyx definitely reassures me. It reassures me so much, in fact, that I don't know how I should feel right now because the ending is incredible, and
Spoiler.
I don't know if that. I mean, spoilers. The fuck.
I thought you were gonna say you punched your cat or something.
No, fucking Half-Life Alyx is an incredible game, and the ending is incredible. Do I trust Valve yet to like is this like a one? I mean, they've said multiple times this is like them finally returning and getting serious about Half-Life as a series again.
Mhm.
The question is, do I believe that? I don't fucking know, but God, I hope it's true. I fucking hope it's true because Alyx is incredible. We'll see. Only time will tell. My thank you goes to all of the services slash whether it's a streaming service or any kind of business out there that is going above and beyond to provide anything that they didn't necessarily have to make people's lives easier. Specifically, it's making me thinking of like you mentioned HBO earlier, is giving access to all of these shows that you don't even have to have an HBO subscription to watch right now. Because people a lot of people are in quarantine as they should be, and have a lot of free time at home and are looking for something to watch. And it's great that services are doing what they can to Shudder is also another service I've been wanting to try for a while. That basically horror movie or horror streaming service. And they upped their free trial from 7 days to 30 days. So you basically get a month free of that, which I'm thinking about trying out, seeing what they have on there. It's nice to see people or companies who we're obviously very often very negative about because of just capitalism and the way the world works. It's nice to see some of these companies trying to do. I mean, a lot of it's probably motivated by hoping to get people to stick around after this whole
Of
thing
course,
is said and
yeah.
done. But at the same time, like they didn't have to do that. It's cool that they're helping people in their own little way. So
Yep.
that's my thanks, and my fuck you goes to Doom Eternal.
Because you love it so much.
It's at this point it's a love-hate relationship because nothing has gotten like I started playing that. I played it for like 10 hours and I was like, this is a fun video game. I'm really enjoying this. And at some point it just ceased to be fun, but nothing has changed since then. The gameplay loop is exactly the same. I am just so done with it. I'm like so ready for it to be over, and the fact that I still probably have a couple hours left to go kind of blows my mind. It's overstayed its welcome, so fuck you, damn. I'm ready to get back to my backlog and to Resident Evil. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's it for our show tonight, guys. Ed, thank you for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're always welcome. We're gonna be doing these fucking.
This is an easy commute for me.
This is a very easy commute for all of us. So
Yeah,
jump in whenever you want. So thank you to everybody who's watching us live on Twitch. We appreciate it as always. Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. We really appreciate you guys. And of course, whether you support us financially or not, we'd love to have you in our Discord. It's discord.gg/4Player. Come hang out. We're in there all day. Maybe not all day, but
right now.
yeah, a lot of us are in there frequently, especially right now, to talk about things to kind of distract us from all of the crazy shit happening outside of these walls. So if you are looking for people to hang out with and talk to and stop yourself from going stir crazy, like I feel like I haven't seen another human being like in person in a long time that I've actually like had a conversation with. It's crazy.
Like, other than
Talk with
Robin.
Robin?
I mean, like, yeah, I see Robin
Yeah.
on a daily basis, but like, I haven't seen any of you in person. I haven't seen any of my other friends in person. I mean, I've seen people when I go on walks or go to the grocery store or something, but like, I haven't seen someone I physically know in person and had a conversation with in a while. So
It seems like
having
regularly I run into Nolan at the grocery store.
Well, not anymore.
Oh,
yeah, we're talking about during this quarantine, is what specifically. I haven't seen my parents in almost 4 weeks. It's getting crazy out there. If you're looking for people to talk to, all I'm trying to say is we're in Discord. We're here to talk about fun stuff. So discord.gg/4player. Come hang out. And of course, you can find all of our podcasts over at 4playernetwork.com. I think that's our show.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Cool.
Good night.
Bye.
Night. Bye.